What'd we miss, Zaslow?
Missed a lot. A lot happened.
We weren't here to talk about it. Our audience got mad at us.
So mad, right?
Yeah. I missed them too. I wanted to talk about the bombing and invading of Venezuela and the taking over of 51st. What happened?
I'm sorry. It's been 2 weeks.
He's nervous, Dan.
What just happened?
I hit something I shouldn't have hit. It's been a while.
What else did I miss? Because Mike Ryan, I can't even imagine what Mike Ryan's last 2 weeks have been like, who he's been talking to, trying to breathe hot hurricane breath in their face for 2 weeks. Where have you been putting all of that?
Chris and I have been really stressed about who we freeze for the Cyclones. This is a big decision, and the decision's due real quick. Do you go with the Undertaker or Stan?
It is a big decision, Dan. We don't know what to do. I'll say it.
The thing that I wanted to talk about, the University of Miami, the idea that the Dolphins now end a season, right, on that note yesterday, where you realize, oh my God, if their quarterback's healthy, it's going to be that for 10 years. The Dolphins are a million miles away and don't really have a plan, and the Patriots have a quarterback and just won the division and almost jerry-rigged the thing to do it the way Brady does it. Home field advantage, get the bye, and you only have to play 2 games, 2 at home when someone limps in hurt.
Chris Greer's rebuild saw the Patriots be the best, the worst, and now the best again.
It's infuriating, the position that the Dolphins are in, but the University of Miami is clearly championship worthy, right? Like that's not something that can be disputed anymore. We were talking about whether they belonged in the playoffs or not.
Look at me, so happy.
He's touching his nipples for the audio.
So
audio.
happy.
I mean, because when you do that to Ohio State, you can beat anybody, and they can beat anybody more ways than anybody but Indiana. Like they're a complete team. They
I'm
can
scared
beat
of
you.
them.
You're scared of Indiana?
Yeah.
Because of what they did to Alabama?
They score so much.
Yeah, but they are Ohio State, and you just saw what Miami did to Ohio State.
I mean, they're better than Ohio State. I know they play in the Big Ten championship, and Ohio State held them to the 13.
What was the score there? Yeah,
They held them to
13-10.
Yeah, but
Like they scored a ton of points on Bama.
They're
but
the same. They're the same.
this is some real 2-0 talk when we're trying to go 1-0.
Is that what we're doing? You're scared of Mississippi? That's not a foregone conclusion.
Dan, did you see Trinidad Chambers?
That was incredible.
Yeah,
Did you
he's
see
great.
him?
Yes, he's great.
He's unreal. The flip,
awesome.
He got out of 6 different sacks and then flipped the ball to the running back for a first down, and then the next play did another incredible thing.
No, Tony, the play you just mentioned was the third most impressive one on that drive.
Yes.
He made 3 plays on one drive that any other quarterback, including our beloved Cuban Mendoza, would take as the play of the year for them. Like, made 3 plays on one drive that a quarterback will go an entire career. Most quarterbacks will go the entire career without making one of those plays. On one drive. He's terrifying. That's going to be fun, though.
For so long, we're so damn excited that we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs, give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air, when the chips are down and you throw a prayer. When your team is primed and on the hunt, it's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say, football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control. And we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack.
I don't know what Mike Ryan.
The Cleveland Browns have fired Kevin Stefanski. Wow. It begins right now.
Is he a two-time Koi?
Didn't Raheem Morris just get fired minutes before that? Now, 2 years ago, they hired him instead of Bill Belichick. A lot has changed in 2 years. They hired him instead of Bill Belichick. They were pretty mediocre the entire time. I felt bad yesterday for Chris Myers and Mark Schlereth having to announce that Falcons-Saints game. Chris Myers should be beyond that in his career at this point, to always have to do that game. So much bad football yesterday. But then it gets saved at the end, right, by the only result that mattered yesterday, correct?
I mean, you can't convince me that two teams playing for nothing determines the division champion in the NFC South. That's some stupid shit.
No,
Dan.
okay, you say it's stupid shit. You're doing coaching carousel, and we'll get to that in a second. But you say stupid shit. The entire thing is stupid when I say I want to redo the playoffs entirely right now and offer you this. Next week, one game. Carolina Panthers against the Steelers. The loser is eliminated, and the winner is eliminated. And then we get on with the playoffs. What do you guys think? The other thing that's stupid is that Pittsburgh and Aaron Rodgers are no more worthy of being in the playoffs just because some guy can't make a 44-yard kick. And just because we've normalized kickers, do not tell me that it's okay that Derrick Henry doesn't get to be in the playoffs because some guy just comes out who's not a football player, who kicks a football instead of does anything with it. And now Derrick Henry can't be running for 6 yards a carry because Justin Tucker couldn't behave himself in massage parlors and nobody realized what an advantage that guy was for the Ravens for 10 years.
And the Ravens finished 2 games worse than the Steelers. They don't belong in the playoffs.
More like Tyler Poop.
Welcome back, Chris.
The entire break you took off for 2 weeks, and that's what you thunder in with?
Stefanski does have 2 Coach of the Years in 6 years. He's not going to be out of work very long. I'd love to see him in Nashville with Cam Ward. That'd be nice.
I would take him here.
He's a good coach.
You say take them here before we get to the Hurricanes, which we will be celebrating in a moment.
No, I don't want him coaching the Canes. I want him coaching the Dolphins.
No, wait.
We're set at the position.
When you say here on the Miami Dolphins, here is lost. Here is a franchise that for 25 years has an owner who is the worst South Florida has ever had at results, can't win a playoff game, inherited a very winning franchise that was a national franchise that is now a local franchise that's embarrassing locally. It's had its city taken away by 2 teams. 2 teams. The Panthers beating the Colorado Avalanche. Nobody beats them. Beating them last night.
That was good.
The Winter Classic was not good. That
was not good.
That embarrassed us. Lone Depot Park embarrassed us. But the Dolphins are now rudderless, leaderless. You've got Mike McDaniel. That inspires faith in no one. Yours is whatever. Like, throw any quarterback out there. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, Juju. Did you learn the names of a lot of backup quarterbacks yesterday? Because Ewers did what any quarterback would have done the last 3 games, who's not one of these abominations that they threw out there yesterday, like the one in Philadelphia. Tony, you didn't fall in love with that guy, did you? McKinley?
Tony, that's a great question.
Come on,
Who'd you fall in love with
He
yesterday,
fell in love
Tony?
with a couple guys.
You know who I felt back in love
You
with?
giving Trubisky another chance?
No. He's a good backup, though. Tank Bigsby. Did you see him on blitz pickup, Dan, by the way? He picked up the linebacker. He got pushed into the quarterback, picked up the linebacker, and then suplexed him onto the ground. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't mean to overreact, but I can't remember the Dolphins being in this kind of disrepair where you're like, where do they fix what, how, when you've got dead cap money, you've got a quarterback problem, you got a coach nobody wants, you do not have a GM. You're talking to Troy Aikman over here because he wants a few $100,000 to whisper in your ear that, yeah, somebody named Mora whatever. Just like
What a scam that is, by the way.
Marino's got to be like,
see if you can find someone named Stoops, whatever. Just one of these football names. Put it in there. Aikman stealing money. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Troy Aikman stealing money from the Miami Dolphins? But you're so leaderless that you're like, let's call the broadcaster who does one game a week. Great game. ESPN is doing that shit better than they've ever done it.
He says interesting things.
The intro, they made Saturday feel so big. Saturday, Carolina, Tampa, Seattle, San Francisco. They made it feel so big. They did. I don't know if people have noticed. ESPN's game coverage has gotten consistently stronger since McQuaid has been in there. Like just much larger production value because they got to keep up with Prime and everybody else who's dumping money. Netflix did a great job with Christmas Day. No one's got any complaints about that. But getting back to what's happening with the Dolphins, when was it this kind of despair where you see
Never.
the Patriots have a young quarterback, the Bills have the MVP of the league, and you're in nowhere land in a bad quarterback year, a bad year for quarterbacks, a bad quarterback draft?
Right. Most years, you're drafting number 11. There's a chance to get our hands on someone, and it's like there's no one. There's no fix this year, and it's going to be yours most likely next year. And
get out of my life with Ty Simpson, by the way.
And a massive cap hit, because they're going to get rid of Tua. No, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no hope right now. And I don't think they've ever been in this position. Dan, it's been exactly a quarter century now since a playoff win.
For the record, we like Ty Simpson.
There's something with that kid, by the way.
Ty Simpson's a fine quarterback. You're going to want to trust me on this one.
There's something about that kid.
Shut up.
All right, I'm sold.
25 years when Zaslow is talking about, I do want to get back to celebrating the Miami hurricane relevance that hasn't had this spirit here since the beginning of 2000. It's been 20 years since football has really mattered in this town because people were playing for championships. It was the Hurricanes who were playing for championships. They've been, when you talk about the history of this town, they are the only minor league thing that has ever broken through to make allegiances that feel really strong with fan bases. The University of Miami, it can be argued, is the third biggest program we have had here. It's, fourth now that the Panthers are doing what they're presently doing. But for many years, the University of Miami was a symbol of pride down here to South Florida. And they have obviously gotten back, right? Everyone can now say the U is back as a question has been asked for 20 years. It can be now said in the affirmative, obviously they can beat anybody. They just dragged the defending champions. We haven't seen anybody do that to them in 2 years. Like, knocked them down and made them chase the entire game as a 9-point dog.
We've done this song and dance every 2-3 years. The Canes will get off to a hot start. The quarterback will get off to a hot start. The U is back, and inevitably they're never back. They're back now, right? This is it. They're back. You win 2 playoff games in 1 year. You're a win away from being a win away. And there's no reason that this can't be the standard every year now. Why can't this be what they do every year now with the way the game is, NIL?
They are favored to win this game against Mississippi. Now, Mississippi and Georgia saved these playoff games because they've been terrible. The bowl games haven't been terrible, like the Seize Your Property, Seize Your Wages Bowl, like that.
You know about that Cheez-It Bowl?
I don't know about that.
Tony the Tiger Bowl, Dan?
Which one is the Seize Your Property, Seize Your Assets, Garner Your Wages Bowl? No?
Guaranteed Rate Bowl?
Armed Forces Bowl?
They're all potential sponsors to me, Dan. I've learned my lesson especially on the mortgage front, which I feel like you should have too.
We agree, correct, that the only game that was played in the playoffs, and it was a great one, everything has been pretty terrible except for Mississippi, Georgia.
If you like that kind of game, I get it. Everyone liked that kind of game. I'm not doubting that.
I thought Miami A&M was awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think that there's been drama. Miami's been approaching their games differently, but I think they've been quality, edge of your seat, like game hangs in the balance for a lot of individual possession type of games.
I don't mean to diminish anything other than the entertainment value so far of what these playoff games have been. The Georgia that game
was crazy entertaining.
The Georgia-Mississippi game was insane, and it made me think of the following sports radio question, Zaslow, because Trinidad Chambliss will be the best quarterback that the Hurricanes have faced in 2 years. Like, he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't throw interceptions. He doesn't get sacked. Like, he's an efficiency machine, and I don't believe the SEC has a defense like Miami's. I think the SEC has been exposed as an entire fraud, that Georgia-Mississippi game is being played at a high level, I believe, because it's the best those teams can do. And you think of Georgia as what they were, but Georgia ain't that anymore. Mm-hmm. The SEC is a whole lot of what just happened to Alabama against Indiana. Mm-hmm. It can happen to Texas. The SEC has been exposed, but Miami just dragged the team from the conference that nobody can beat. Like, in terms of big boy football, when I see Mississippi and Georgia play, I see athletes that are very large, but Miami has trenches advantages, both sides. Both sides. You've got first-round picks on those offensive lines and defensive lines. So Ohio State can take away Malachi Toney, and did. And what? Like, they took away Malachi Toney. Couldn't do anything. Okay, here's a whole lot of Fletcher. You can have a whole lot of Fletcher. And Ohio State's not used to losing like that to anybody but Michigan, where they're just trailing all game. They're beaten off the start. And when they were down 14-0,
I was too.
You made up with Zagacki. How have we not talked about this?
Oh, yeah, I had a conversation with Joe Zagacki. I think I made up with Joe Zagacki a couple years ago where I would enter a public event and he would go, Mike. But I've never actually had an opportunity to speak to him as much as I have this most recent time. And what a delightful conversation that was. A good 50 minutes and 6 bold glasses of Cabernet. Yeah.
Man, any like, pausing in the conversation? Any down?
Couple station IDs, left to right on the radio dial. And at one point he turned to Don Bailey. He's like, Don, Wake Forest is going to win this ball game.
You guys.
And did they?
You guys, these are two University of Miami legends. Joe Zagacki's on the Mount Rushmore of University of Miami media people. There's no question about this, correct?
Joe Zagacki, Jay Rokeach, who else?
I'm just saying that Mike, for years now, has honored. It's the greatest flattery that we keep Zagacki's voice and name alive here nationally. He doesn't see it this way, obviously. But it is an homage to a Miami legend that we make this kind of fun of him. But Mike has sometimes pulled into a Hurricane tailgate near Joe Zagacki, and maybe there's not eye contact. Maybe it's awkward. Mike doesn't know how he's going to be received because Mike knows the things that he said last week, last month, last year, and for the last 15 years.
Right, because we honor Joe Zagacki, but in a very strange way. We use his voice for a character that's not actually Joe Zagacki. It's a complicated legacy Joe Zagacki, and it's become like a strange conservative voice on our show. And for that, I'd understand if Joe Zagacki took issue with misrepresenting his signature voice. But he seems fine and honored by it.
I don't think it's anything other than actually honoring him. Like, no one here says that he's not a good broadcaster.
He did make it very clear several times over. He has no idea how to find our show.
He said that?
Yeah, I understand. Remember, this guy moves left to right on your radio dial.
Always has. Far right now.
Yeah, you know it.
Dan, you know about that rate bowl?
That was with a T.
Rate.
Can we talk about how most Miami fans had an ear-to-ear smile laying in their bed New Year's Day, 2 a.m. in the morning, with the glow of their cell phone radiating off their face.
I was very
all
excited.
Cheering on Michael Irvin simulating child abuse, beating the ever-loving shit out of a cooler. I'm watching that, and I'm like, I know what you're doing. Yeah, teach that cooler who is boss.
Like, when did whipping with a belt become totally acceptable?
We all know what's happening. We all know what he's channeling, and we're all there like, yeah. You put an Ohio State jersey on top of that cooler and beat the shit out of it.
But a lot of times it's B-roll. Sometimes we're not hearing what he's saying. Maybe if you hear him, it's better.
No, when you hear him, it's even more like child abuse. And you're like, go, do it.
Oye, just so that we know, so that we're clear, okay? In the most Cuban college football year there has ever been.
Thank God.
This is the most Cuban Miami team there has ever been that Michael Irvin is out here simulating El Pau Pau.
Yeah.
Which the Cuban child will still get.
100%.
El Pau Pau.
And the thing is, I was like, when did hitting a child with a belt become okay?
No.
Yeah, I like it.
Don't come back. Boom. Oh, that's it, baby. The belt to ass. We put belt to ass. We did it every week, and we're going to keep doing it until we land back home in our stadium for the national championship. Next week, same deal. Same bat channel, same bat time. Belt.
Beat the shit out of that ball.
Stop saying belt to
In
ass.
the middle of it, he told a cooler to not come back to that stadium. I love it. I know what it is. I know what it represents. And I know it's dicey. I love it. It's one of the game's greatest traditions now.
Let's go through them.
Yeah, it's Clemson running down the hill.
It's
Iowa players waving at a children's hospital, and it's Michael Irvin beating the shit out of a Gatorade cooler with your opposing team of jersey of choice on top.
So you're saying the Notre Dame play like champions that
yeah,
they
that's
touch
what
on the way out, that they've been doing since Nuke Rockney.
Yes.
That you're saying that this now rivals that.
It's on the level.
Overnight, great college football tradition. If you paid attention to the Ole Miss game, and I know you did, the Ole Miss players were doing the BTA celebration, and when they went to accept the Sugar Bowl trophy presented by Allstate, they had belts in their hand.
Yeah.
Zazzle, what I was beginning to say is a great sports radio question is the following. If you're Miami, who do you prefer to play? Obviously, you don't want to see Trinidad Chambliss. He is better than Gunnar Stockton. He is a very good quarterback, a bit of a magician, a sorcerer. I say, do you want to play that? No, I don't really want to play that. But your choice was you could have gotten Georgia, a coach so confident that up 2 points from his own 30-yard line on 4th and 5, he runs a double reverse fake punt pass because he's so not scared of consequences in big stages. And also, he might know where Carson Beck's weaknesses are because he coached Carson Beck, and now you're going to have time to prepare for that. If I say Miami, you can choose which of those opponents you get. What is Miami's choice?
I don't want to face Kirby Smart. Like, I don't want Kirby Smart to have 10 days to prepare for Mario Cristobal's Hurricanes. I'd rather go up against Pete Golding, who has only been a head coach. This will now be his third game as head coach, and there's no way to actually quantify this kind of stuff. But you're telling me that Pete Golding is going to go 3-0 as a head coach in his lifetime, and all 3 of those games are in the playoff. It feels like a lot to ask for. It feels like Ole Miss's time is coming to an end.
With no assistance because, that thing is one of the weirdest things you've ever seen in college football. Lane Kiffin is lending him the assistance, and now they don't know if they're even going to have, 4 to 6 of their assistants?
Well, the running back coach already left.
I think it's Weiss is the only one that's staying.
Yeah.
This is so dirty.
And Weiss was on campus at Baton Rouge hosting transfer portal quarterbacks. Right. In his LSU Tiger
and they didn't even get
polo.
the kid. They didn't even get him.
No, Brendan Sorsby goes to Texas Tech. Tony, your thoughts here?
I was just going to say that with all those things said, it feels like Ole Miss is a bit of a team of destiny, right? It's like the ragtag group, the quarterback that was in D2 last year, the coach that nobody wants that all of a sudden is going to be the quarterback, the coach. It just feels like whatever Ole Miss is doing is working, right? And
it's a good story. It's coming to an end.
Okay, sure. But it feels also like a team of destiny where they'll be playing against Miami, and then the one thing that you can't game plan for is what Trinidad Chambliss does, right? If Kirby Smart game plans against...
I mean, Marcel Reed was a running quarterback, too. Not
He's
Smith
not
Chambliss.
Trinidad Chambliss.
Not Smith Chambliss.
Hold on. This is not the same thing at all. Look, I would have argued and did argue last couple of weeks ago that Marcel Reed was the most dangerous quarterback Miami had faced this year. And I'm including Carr in there, but Carr doesn't move. He doesn't turn the ball over either, but he doesn't run. What Trinidad Chambliss just did to Georgia felt to me like what I saw Vince Young do years ago as Texas's quarterback. Like, that was just lunacy what he was doing to those athletes on the Georgia defensive line, where I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They can't actually corral him. He doesn't get sacked. Florida sacked him. South Carolina bothered him. But nobody intercepts him, and he plays like that, and he's got receivers who look the part.
And he's gone up against good defensive fronts before. Oklahoma has a very good defensive front, and he won that game, didn't have much of an issue with them. Just real quick on the Kirby Smart thing, I actually think the double reverse, I think this is one of Kirby Smart's best years of coaching. His team was not very good, and they won their second consecutive SEC title. And I think that fake punt in particular was Kirby telling you, we're not good enough on these guys, and I got to take this chance. But Georgia would have been favored against Miami. Miami is favored against Ole Miss. I think in terms of style of opponent, Ole Miss does a lot of things that should worry you. The 3 quickest quarterbacks in terms of getting the ball out fast. Kevin Jennings of SMU, Miller Moss of Louisville, and number 1, Trinidad Chambliss. I don't need to tell you what those other 2 quarterbacks did against Miami and how those games turned out. And his escapability in the pocket. He's not going to take off and run all that much, but his ability to extend plays and find an open guy with a live arm to do that, I think there's an interesting style for Miami to match up against.
You get to this point in the season, how could you not expect to face a team that's going to present problems for you?
Look, I mean, Miami just shut down a Heisman finalist in Julian Sand, but I think his ability to get the ball out quick, and if Miami gets home, he can be elusive enough to neutralize some of what Miami brings to the table. I think Miami's offense is going to get challenged in this game in ways that they haven't to keep pace early on. Miami hasn't trailed against any of the top 10 teams that they've played. I think they're going to trail in this one, and the offense is going to have to keep pace, and I think they will with the running game until you eventually wear this opponent out. But I was worried about Georgia just because it is very clear Carson Beck is a different quarterback now. And I'm not just playing the results about, like, we're winning and he's not turning the ball over.
Yeah, he plays mistake-free,
He was
man.
fundamentally changed from that Louisville game to the point that he's a game manager now. He's being challenged by opposing defenses to be precise and find holes in the zone, and he's become a short yardage intermediate quarterback. I think he takes like 2 attempts a game deep.
Yeah.
But he is a different guy now. And I think part of that is because he's timid a little bit, and that Louisville game got to his psyche. And you want to talk about the Georgia storyline and Kirby Smart and that whole thing? I didn't want that anywhere near my quarterback.
Neither.
That's the other thing, too. Like, Kirby can game plan specifically for what Carson Beck does in a way that when you look at the other side of the ball with Trinidad Chambliss, with Ole Miss, you can't game plan for that, right? Like, you can try to set the edge. You could try to not get him outside. But when he's Cam Ward last year, where he's just, like, spinning
That's what it was. That's what it was.
That's what it is.
What I saw from this quarterback against Georgia reminded me exactly of Cam Ward, where I'm taking 3 of the plays on one drive, and I'm sending them to my friends in slow motion so that you can watch just an absurd pro throw on one of them, a ridiculous scramble on another. Like, obviously, he's not Vince Young. He doesn't run like that. He doesn't get sacked. And so if he's getting rid of the ball that quickly, and they don't miss Lane Kiffin, and when you talk about coaching, they were a disaster at the end of the first half. They botched a field goal, a thing you take for granted. One offense running off the field goal team running on, don't have a timeout, you get out there. They botched the whole thing, and you just saw coaching, and it did not matter.
It didn't matter.
Kirby Smart's still trying fake double reverse passes because he's trying to keep up with this quarterback, who is the best player Miami has faced in 2 years.
And they played Mendoza and Cal in those 2 years.
This is not up for dispute, is it?
No, I think he's a tremendous player. I think to the point about wearing them down, he's about the same height as Cam Ward, but Cam Ward, who got hurt yesterday, has a good 30 pounds on Chambliss. So I don't know how he's going to react to getting hit, but he doesn't get hit. They have a left tackle that hasn't given up a sack in 14 weeks.
So the way that Louisville beat Miami was not just 4 turnovers. It was they came in with the game plan. We have a first-round wide receiver, but we're getting rid of everything in 2 seconds. We're not going to let Ruben Bain ruin this game.
No, they were drop blocking. Like, they were just going straight at Ruben's ankles because they were like, we can't block this guy straight up.
And so if that is what it is that Miami is headed toward, and Mike is talking about the psyche of Carson Beck, like, we forget they're kids, okay? I understand that he's played in the hot light for a while, but between 18 and 22, whatever the pressures are on him at Georgia, he came, and in that game they lost because of him. He threw 4 interceptions. He was winging it down the field. He fell in love with what happened against FSU. Those throws weren't there. Louisville made great play after great play, and he was humbled by it and becomes a game manager. But Ohio State stopped Malachi Toney, and what I'm telling you about what Miami has in ways to beat you that's unusual is Mississippi actually has the kicking game advantage here, but you trust all parts of Miami's game. Now, you trust their quarterback is not going to turn the ball over because he hasn't for a long while now and isn't throwing interceptable passes either. It's not like he's making a whole bunch of mistakes. It's just a more conservative offense that's trusting its defense. That's what's happening there. But when you say, Mike, they've led against all the top 10 teams, they've never trailed against them, I'd be curious what it looks like when they trail, because he hasn't been in that circumstance, and when he has been, he's lost.
Well, are they going to get rattled? Are they going to get away from the run game if they go down a touchdown? Miami's style, they were blessed to have that midseason hiccup because they learned, like, wait a second, in the ACC, teams are trying to have us play these games that we're doing against Notre Dame, which is like, let's have the same number of possessions and best on best, and we'll operate and we'll execute and we'll do what we have to do to come away against a team that maybe has a little bit more talent than us. But that doesn't fly in the ACC, where teams are like, let's get more possessions, and if you're going to score on one possession and take 7 minutes for it, we're going to score in 2 minutes. And we're going to have your guys in Ruben Bain and Keem Mesidor have to go against tempo, which I'm really worried about. This is the first team that is going to seriously run tempo against Miami. Miami's also learned to have rotation there. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Miami is blessed by what happened earlier this season, but I am worried that if they're going to be remarried to their style, which is, okay, we're going to take 7 minutes to score, you're going to take a minute, and that's going to be a problem.
I will find interesting how it is that they approach what is I believe, stubborn stupidity of just not ever running outside. They are just going to run straight into the middle of your face, and they're never going to test the corners.
I like it.
It's just going to be punch you in the stomach and punch you in the face and headbutt you because Michael Irvin is making strange noises on the sidelines, growling like some sort of mating wildebeest situation. What are those noises?
It's a dog with rabies.
So Miami's back because of that. Like that is the Miami's had that sound has been repressed at the center of Miami for 20 years.
I don't even think he's mic'd up. That's just like the phone picking up him, right? He's not mic'd up, is he?
Yeah, he puts stuff on his own YouTube channel, which I have subscribed to, because I love watching him beat the crap out of objects. No matter a brick wall, a cooler, keep it going.
My son gets home that night after the game, and the first thing he says when he walks in the door, he goes, "You see Michael Irvin?"
I think we're underselling this guy's brain as like one of the true great comedic brains. He's a brilliant physical comedian. He should be talked about like with Jim
He's
Carrey.
on all fours when the Canes are in the end zone.
He is so friggin' funny.
I got a question about that. Do you think that there's a moment where Mario's in a tense situation? He's trying to figure out what to do. He looks over to the 20, and he sees Michael Irvin on all fours, and he's like,
on the 20, Irvin's in the end zone.
It's like, what does this guy do? Get this guy up!
Did you see Mario wipe off that kiss that Michael Irvin gave him on
Oh,
the
it
cheek?
must have been such a sloppy kiss. Let's be honest. Come on.
We call that the SVP muscle. Yeah.
At Le Batard Show, put it on the poll. Is Michael Irvin a brilliant physical comedian like Jim Carrey? As brilliant a physical comedian as Jim Carrey. I did want to talk for a second, though, because we'll have plenty of time this week to analyze the latest, biggest game in program history, in the program century, I guess I would say, last 20 years. The Texas A&M game was that, then the Ohio State game was bigger than that, and now this one is bigger than that. But when I talk about the context of who that is doing that absurdity for 30 years of physical comedy, when I think of the memorable plays in Miami history, what Scott did with that pick six is now going to go in the conversation with seeing Michael Irvin run down a sideline, down 19-3 at FSU. The moments that you remember all the details on. What are the seminal giant moments of Hurricane football? And I imagine, Mike, that you felt as good as you've ever felt seeing a pick six against Ohio State being taken, and you're like, oh, we're going to play from ahead here.
I said 9 words that entire game.
Really?
I said nothing during that
You're just
run back.
silent the whole year with your family.
I don't think like I deserve this. You know, it's what I want so badly. And
Why don't you deserve it?
I keep waiting for the universe to tell me that I'm not going to be able to enjoy this. So it's been kind of surreal. It's been kind of pinch me. I did some of the words that I said were right before the play. Before that play, Jeremiah Smith was in the slot and we had Mo Toure on him. And I was like, let's change that. Don't like that. So that was a couple words.
That was on Jeremiah Smith though.
Yeah. The very
he
next
missed that
play.
block.
Yeah, he missed that block.
So, like,
Dude,
the majority of your 9 words were that play.
Yeah, Keontae Scott had turf toe. And turf toe, like, kept Joe Burrow out of the season. Turf toe really, really hurts. The name does not match how painful this is. When it was announced that he was going to play against Texas A&M, and dude had an all-time game against Texas A&M. Yeah. Guy's been unreal. This is a 3-star transfer from Houston. Not a lot of fanfare. And this guy has such a nose for the ball, is making impact play after impact play, sure tackler, incredible blitzer, just making game-changing plays. He is doing legendary shit right now.
It was
for the
such a
University of
bad
Miami.
decision from Julian saying. It was so bad.
The game itself, like, I want to talk about it, but I also want to talk about, I don't know if you guys saw that John Ruiz's life wallet was, whatever it is, taken off the NASDAQ, and what was the front on NIL in Miami getting into the Cristobal game. Cristobal representing Cuban Miami now. Representing Cuban Miami in a way that's very strong and unusual. We don't get sports things like this very often. He represents the Cuban community very well. Abuelos would tell you that, and young kids who, like Tony looks at Mario Cristobal, I imagine, as a symbol of great strength, and so does your dad.
100%. Like that's people that we know realistically in the community. Like I know Mario Cristobal, the archetype.
You want to make a Cuban pop? Bring
That's
up the
him.
name Fernando Mendoza around a 70-year-old Cuban second-gen guy.
Okay, but Mike, Columbus High has put the University of Miami in this business position because the $90 million was found for Mario Cristobal with the understanding that he would work harder than anybody to get the biggest and the best and the strongest physical players so that they look like they have 4 first-round picks on the offensive and defensive line.
This is all a vision. This is all a plan that is coming together at the right time. Your 70-year-old abuelo doesn't care about that. I got an AI-generated image from my dad who does not know ball of Fernando Mendoza and Mario Cristobal toasting a cafecito to welcome in the new year.
Okay, but I got an AI image of Mario Cristobal hitting Ryan Day at midfield. I've got an AI image.
Sure it's AI?
I was fooled by it. My father definitely was. My father was like, ¿Qué le pasa a este hombre?
Viste Peñazo.
Pero why would do it? Pero ¿por qué hizo
Lefty.
esto? Yeah.
Let's see if this is real or not. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Post-game handshake. Oh,
Yes, clear shot.
down goes Day.
Yeah. So
And then he flexes.
That one I think is real though.
I love my coach.
That's real.
this was real from halftime. Here is Ruben Bain at halftime of the Ohio State game. He's in the locker room. I always do wonder when we get these, like, I imagine that Ohio State has this same thing in their locker room, and then no one will just ever see that because we bury those. But when the team wins, we release it. And so here's Ruben Bain in the University of Miami's halftime speech against Ohio State.
Don't say much, but bro, we only got 30 more minutes. 30 more minutes, we get everything we fucking work for. Them boys ain't work how we work. They ain't feel how we feel. They ain't cry how we cry, gang. You can see they don't got the energy we got, bro. They don't want it how we want it, bro. 30 more minutes is all we got.
They don't cry like we cry.
Oh, my God.
Guys dropping Morrissey lyrics at halftime. You're in big trouble.
I don't think Ohio State does that in their locker room. I think they didn't win because they didn't do that.
Keontae Scott has been sleeping at the facility for months on end.
They're like, we don't want it like they do.
Can you guys answer my question in terms of seminal moments? 3rd and 44, Craig Erickson against Notre Dame. He converts a 3rd and 44. When you're talking about the seminal moments in Hurricane history, and we're talking about these games are going to keep getting bigger, and it does announce to America, this is not, Miami has won the business of this. They just dragged the defending champs. Like, they just dragged the defending champs in a way, like, you know what Ohio State's defense has been. You know what their goal line defense is about as good as you'll ever see. They're very stout. Ryan Day is not a special coach. He's got a very stout defense and has for a long time. And it wasn't more physical than Miami's. Anybody watching that game would be just telling you, yeah, they could have played this a bunch of different times and it would have gone a lot different than this.
And Mark Fletcher's getting 4, 5, 6, 7 yards a pop. It means that offensive line is just mauling people over. And it doesn't matter what you have on the defensive line, whether you're A&M, whether you're Ohio State, you're going to get pushed further and further and further down until you just crumble.
Mass kicks ass.
Oh, my coach. How about Marty Brown on that last drive?
Brown,
Dude, you know why he was in there, right? A little worried about the fumbles with Fletcher. So had a fresh Marty Brown in there after they got softened up, and they ran the same exact play that they scored the touchdown in. You have that personnel on the line, jumbo. It's a run all the way, and you have a little running back leak out on the. It was just a brilliant call that we went to twice by Shannon Dawson.
Mask kicks ass.
Mask kicks.
Dawson was in his bag on that play, by the way.
Mask
That's
kicks
another
ass.
thing. Like we were making Matt Patricia the wizard coach that we can't crack,
Got a pencil in his hat.
and
Mask
with
kicks
a
ass.
laminated sheet. I'm not worried about that guy.
Dan, you know about that Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl?
You're worried about Chambliss.
Yes, of course.
You're worried
Could you
about
not be?
It's a
I
real-
remember the Independence Bowl. Manny Diaz got shut up by Louisiana Tech in that. I'm never going back.
You know about that Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl?
I did. He caught one
a
of the kick.
kickoff, yeah.
The press box has changed.
But Mike said it best. The press box has changed. I mean, seriously, get over yourself. We're
Chris
going to
said it.
talk during the post game. Tim Reynolds,
Fine.
enough. I mean, enough.
I mean,
seriously.
you just got to know when
You're
the
not
Dan Le-
allowed to cheer in the press box. Did you know that?
Well,
That's
I
a
did.
cardinal
They were cheering for
rule
Will
in baseball.
Manso. I think that's
Yeah,
allowed.
and Goldie.
If,
Yeah.
if the Dan Le Batard Show comes to a hockey press box, hilarity is going to ensue.
Yeah.
They're going to yell at Will Manso for 7 minutes, and you're probably going to have to go to a
7
stairwell to
seconds.
write, man. Like, it's just...
If it was 7 minutes, I'd get it.
It
was
is what it
7
is.
seconds.
Exactly. I mean, David, everyone else was saying hi. They were enjoying the show. They were laughing at us. But one guy is still clutching on to his newspaper deadline.
I'm a little
and it's
disappointed.
Tim Reynolds.
And is he your demographics, too?
I don't know.
I happen to like Tim a lot, and
Enough of him.
I imagine this was going to be like E.J. Raddick or something, but that's just a bad look for Tim Reynolds.
Listen,
Yeah,
I went
I
up
do
to him
appreciate
afterwards.
This was the best part. Stugotz
Yes.
is like, I've known Tim for years. I'm going to go
Yeah.
fix this. He walked to Tim and walked right back very quickly.
Yep.
It was a very quick interaction.
Well, he was writing. Okay?
He's on deadline. It's
Enough of the deadline.
It's a
We're
working
on
don't
deadline,
defend
Tim.
him.
We're on deadline. I gotta get home. I feel like playoff hockey. I gotta get home. I mean,
Yeah, we're on deadline too. We got to get that post game out.
It is a working press box. Tim Reynolds is a journalist who's trying to write, and Stugotz is back there. Hey, Will Manso!
that was Chris and Goldie. Don't leave out Goldie.
We're on deadline too. They're going to kick us out of that press box a lot sooner than they'll kick out Tim Reynolds, who's just typing away. That's just
Those writers had their game stories done before the end of the game.
precisely.
Yeah, a good writer, right?
Oh,
What happened there? I apologize to him. I've known Tim for decades. I mean, Cody was done. He was out of there. I mean, you know.
What was that interaction like, Stugotz? Take us behind the scenes. You walk up to him, you say what, he says what.
I said, Tim, I apologize. That's on me. I should know better. Not Chris, okay? I should know better. I've been in press boxes before. I know you have a deadline. I apologize. And he said, that's fine. Just, try to keep it down.
That is way too
Yes.
long.
That was
Way
much
too
longer
long.
than the actual
He's on
conversation.
deadline.
I always extend it a little
Can we
bit.
call,
I mean, you guys
can we
know that.
call Tim Reynolds and just ask him about what the
Don't,
interaction was
no,
like?
no.
Greg Cody's back in my day. Seeds.
Seeds. Seeds. Had a slice of watermelon lately? Popped a few grapes in your maw? Then you probably notice seeds are disappearing from fruit. And you probably see this as a good thing just because it makes life a little easier. We love us some convenience. In fact, it's a terrible thing, the de-seeding of us. Symbolically alone, the seed is the king of life. Adam gave his to Eve, and here we are, if you believe the story. If they take the seed out of humans the way we have watermelons, we're all dead ducks. beans, peas, rice, coffee, corn, all seeds. Flour and oil started as seeds. All hail seeds. So what the hell is happening? In exchange for convenience, we are not valuing the seed's impact on health, biodiversity, and our food system. The genetic variability of most plants require seeds as essential to their evolution. Deseeded, artificially homogenized fruits rely on human intervention in the reproductive process, exposing the fruits to many pathogens. Plainly put, seedless fruits are not as good for you. They contain less fiber and have fewer minerals and vitamins than their seeded natural brethren. Seedless fruits also have fewer antioxidants, plant-based nutrients, and anti-inflammatory properties. But enough about this science. Bring back seeds because seeds are fun. Not to mention aesthetically and visually pleasing. Kids growing up today have sliced open a watermelon, have never sliced open a watermelon, and experienced the joy of seeing that juicy red flesh dotted with embedded black seeds. Nellie Doogie used to tell us if we swallowed a watermelon seed, a big melon would grow on our belly. It wasn't true. But as kids would make a competition out of seed spitting. You extracted the big seeds from the melon flesh. Tongue only, never fingers or a utensil, and you'd see who could project a seed the farthest. Every summer we did that. This was before video games, kids. Made our own games and toys. Flew a kite, kicked a can, spit a seed. Grapes were the real challenge because the seeds were so much smaller. We'd both pop a grape in our mouth, tongue moving, jaws in action, and whoever could spit out 3 seeds onto the table the fastest won. To this day, I carve real pumpkins and eschew the free fab foam and plastic fakes, mainly for the treasure trove of seeds inside. Hundreds and hundreds of them waiting to be scraped out, cleaned, and roasted in the oven to become delicious natural snacks. Respect, worship, and bring back the seeds. I need a t-shirt that says convenience is overrated. Insist to your local grocer that you'll take your watermelon seeded, please, and the grapes too. I'm Greg Cody, and that's how it was back in my day.
Yep.
Journalism is dead.
But journalism, as we know it, as you know it, what you wanted to do when you were a little kid, okay? It has changed. It has. It's changed, okay? You're not wrong. Stephen A. Smith is not wrong. You have to adapt sometimes, okay? Because the game has changed. Your priorities have shifted. No one cares how someone goes and gets the news that they get as long as the news is accurate, as long as it's coming from a credible place. If it's Woj, if it's Adam Schefter, if it's
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Chris Cody, I'm thinking about needing some help here with an executive decision where we just make the whole week a fake pregame show that leads up to Thursday night's biggest game in the history of games since games were played by the University of Miami. Like, if we're going to do this right over the next week, because if you've been listening to the show since the pandemic, you watched this happen. You watched Mike Ryan become someone who was in the NIL community trying to get into the thicket of how boosters influence things. You saw how Columbus High School anointed Mario Cristobal as the guy from Saban who could go get all of the players, and he's obviously fixed it. Like the things that were plaguing Miami, they've gone from being pretty mediocre for 20 years to getting into the big business of athletics. And at the beginning of it, it was John Ruiz and Life Wallet, and now that has it's all gone away. And what's left is a man who came up through this program and learned how to win championships at Jimmy Johnson's knee, offensive lineman like his brother, failed at FIU. Failed at FIU.
You would say failed?
He didn't fail. He won a bowl game. Had a great player in T.Y. Hilton.
He didn't fail. That was Pete Garcia.
Well, got fired at the end because he wasn't getting results at the end, and his career was in disarray.
Sneaky Pete.
And then he ends up rehabbing this Miami program where they are favored to win the next most important game in program history. But it is fair to say we haven't had this spirit here since 2001. Because even when Miami was going to Pitt as the number one team in the country with Stephen Morris as the quarterback, none of us believed that was a championship-worthy team that could play with anyone. Mm-hmm. We didn't look at a season's worth of rivals and say, oh, at the end they're going to win all their games. No, it was a team with flaws. This team is not flawed.
We beat all our rivals this year. And you can add Ohio State to that mix because Miami has always had this weird relationship with Ohio State in terms of hatred that's outsized since the Fiesta Bowl. They beat Ohio State. They beat Notre Dame. They beat Florida. They beat Florida State. No one cares about this more than Mario Cristobal. Yeah. You think I care a lot? You think I've been a homer for 20 years on this show? Mario Cristobal cares way more than me. He cares way more about getting Miami back to where it should be than anyone else on the planet. I guarantee you. He's a psycho about it.
Does the Ohio State stuff, Terry Porter, the cheating, the flag, does all that go away if the Canes win the national championship this year? Because I kind of feel like, to me, as a Heat fan, the Allen Houston shot was really bad. And then 7 years later, the Heat won the NBA Finals. Like, okay, I can let that go now.
I think it's even more impressive when you consider on their path there, they knocked off that team.
Yeah.
There was a surreal moment. I can't feel my face. Final whistle blows. I'm looking around trying to soak it in. And if you look at the Miami sections, in the air, you're seeing people brought their own penalty flags. And well after the final whistle, you start seeing them go up in the air.
Really?
Yeah, like confetti, like little streamers, like flares going up in the section. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think we need to escalate this with the imaging that we have that rises to the moment that says that this is the biggest thing we've seen in many a decade.
Biggest game in 20 years.
Look at that. That is the imaging we need. There it is. A drunk Greg Cody driving home from the holiday party.
Being driven home.
Whispering into the phone and complaining to his son.
Biggest game in 20 years.
I think we need to build up to Thursday's game. Mike is going on Thursday. Zazzo's going to the Peach Bowl.
I'm going to the wrong game.
Go to the Peach Bowl. Sucker.
The two teams representing each semifinal should be able to trade venues. You got two East Coast teams going out west. You got two West Coast teams going out east. We should just make a deal with the Big Ten and say, hey, you get the Fiesta. Give us the sugar.
If all four teams agree, right?
What a peach.
What are we doing?
Yeah, this is stupid. It's like, this is annoying. I hate the bowl game setup here. It's weird. You're all about the Goodyear tires, and then in 6 days, you're just supposed to forget that and become a Verbo guy.
But us having a home game, if we win, we like that.
Yeah, Miami might be playing at home for the championship. That's
one game at a time.
They're favored.
It's wild. It's a neutralizer because they're going to be going up against a team, either Oregon and Indiana would be terrifying. They're going to be going up against a team that is going to be favored and picked by most to beat them. But the great neutralizer is that's a home game.
You can say favored to beat them, but I don't believe anybody should be favored by much against Miami. I have not seen a lot of teams that I would say are better than Miami. Indiana's impressive. Indiana can beat you in the same ways that Miami can beat you, but I wouldn't say that Miami doesn't have a chance against anybody.
That day is gone.
But this is the reason. This is why it's championship worthy. We're about to have a new champion. One of these teams has never won before, and so
there's going to be a first-time national champion head coach.
Miami obviously has won championships, but Indiana and Oregon and Mississippi, these are all newcomers. What really the blue blood remaining program after the SEC gets knocked aside and Ohio State and Clemson isn't what it was. This is the name program, but it hasn't been that for 20 years, and The name on the marquee among these four schools is Miami. Miami's the only one with a real history there at winning at football, and they've won the business of it when you can just look at it and say they got the most expensive quarterback, turned him into a game manager, and built all around him a defense that can beat you and an offense that has enough playmakers, and they're just going to maul you up front. They're going to be what the Cristobal family name is, punch you in the face again and again, even if you're Ryan Day, even if it's midfield.
Mass kicks ass.
And this is who he is. He shakes hands with his elbows. Do you guys realize I heard this on the broadcast where they were introducing Kyle Whittingham at Michigan.
What do you say?
There were people saying that their hands were still hurting from days earlier when he shook it. And that's what Cristobal is. It's another one of these meatheads who will shake your hand.
Adrian Peterson.
More vigorously than you can shake his hand, and your hand will hurt for 3 days, and he's going to beat you because he cares about all of this more than you do.
I mentioned this before Miami's midseason hiccup, and a couple games later it was viewed as a joke of a statement. But we need to reshape what we think of genius along offense. It's always supposed to look like Lincoln Riley because we're so tethered to the quarterback. You'll hear that, Trinidad's going to get plenty of hype over these next few days because fans and ESPN media we're just fixated on the quarterback.
Man, enough with this Trinidad Chambliss. He's an unbeatable quarterback. Please,
it's incredible.
I'm already
Zaz.
tired. I know he's really
Zaz,
good.
you got eyes, right?
I'm already tired about
You saw the
hearing
game,
about
right?
him. Yes, I saw the game.
Okay,
Of
you saw
course
what he
I
did. Okay,
He was brilliant. But
he's some Superman quarterback. Get out of here.
my larger point is
Invincible.
Mario's never going to get.
Whatever, Dan.
Mario's never going to get to be the genius type because everyone's just like caveman offensive lineman. Look, and he'll never escape what happened to Georgia Tech against Georgia Tech, even though he's been executing.
No one's
quite
ever going to
well.
talk about that again if the Canes win the national championship. He will escape.
It will follow him forever, but it'll be one of those things that he overcame. But he's not ever going to be genius guy. But he's a genius about program building. He's a genius about offensive line play. He's a genius about developing guys along the trenches. He really is. And that makes everything easier for a quarterback. That makes your offensive coordinator look like a genius when you build the roster the way that he has.
That Chambliss. It's enough already. It's only Monday morning. I'm tired of hearing about him already.
All right, Peach Bowl breath. You're just envious because you're not going to be at the
A
good
little
game?
bit.
You're not-
A little bit.
That's what it is.
A
There we
little
go.
bit. I mean, when I saw the brackets come out, knowing I'm going to the Peach Bowl, what? Canes are on the other side? What?
The University of Miami will take center stage here when I was talking about the history of the things in this market that have mattered in sports and the way football matters here. Miami, the university, made it matter here at a time that the Dolphins weren't winning championships. They had Marino, but they weren't winning championships. The University of Miami became a professional sports program in this town and didn't seem to have the money to get Mario Cristobal. Like $90 million for that seemed like a lot of money, and it seemed like too much to give him. It didn't seem like money Miami had. Miami was aggressive, and then he went out and got a lot of the best players, physical players.
What's interesting about this town's relationship with this Miami Hurricanes team is Miami was only really an underdog one time throughout their natties, right? It was the first one. Discounted. No one thought that they could do it, and they ended up playing a game at home and winning a national title. And then that started a run that had them as the favorite. They were a 14.5-point favorite when they played Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl. This is the first team that has tapped back into that first team, that first national title team, which is no, they really doubted you. They said that you didn't belong. They were going to take a team that won, that lost you heads up because everyone thought that you couldn't do this. And it's interesting that there is only one team in the nation that can play that card more than Miami, and it's a team whose coach didn't think they had a shot to win the national title in Ole Miss.
Larger scope, though, the thing that's that is you build upon this. James Madison isn't in this class. Tulane, you're not in this class. There are 10 teams that can win the title, and Miami is now one of them. They have built the foundation that can make them one of them. Now, Indiana would say they've done the same thing. Oregon's been trying to build that for a year and always loses one of these next two games, much of the time when Cristobal was their coach. This is exactly the kind of team that can beat him because of this quarterback, because of getting rid of the ball quickly.
Well, we all know Mass kicks ass, but the way to kick Mass's ass is make that Mass carry its own weight and chase you around and play lots of reps. Miami is different, though, than when they played SMU and Louisville in terms of rotation. You got Marquise Lightfoot beating double teams now.
Mass kicks ass.
The thing that I thought that was confusing, Zaz, and there are a number of them, is Chambliss, the first time he played Georgia, was 1 for 10 in the fourth quarter. In this fourth quarter, he's like the best player in the sport. Like in this third and fourth quarter against Georgia, you're looking at him and you're like, you need to redo the Heisman voting. Like that's
100%. If the Heisman was held today, he'd win. Yeah. Because that performance was.
If he was eligible to enter the NFL draft, what would people be saying?
Well, he's trying to apply for an extra year. He is eligible to enter the NFL draft. I asked a front office person, and I don't know. He's 6'1", which you can get away with in that league, but he's going to have to put on some pounds. But I think he's an NFL player, no doubt.
I mean, those were NFL throws.
His arm is so live, dude.
That looked like Cam Ward, but it's not how hard he's throwing it. Obviously, he's throwing it. It's the accuracy 30 yards downfield where he's got a receiver that's covered.
Dude, he did you ever see that movie Wanted with Angelina Jolie?
Oh,
where they made
he
the
hooked
bullets.
the bullet?
He did.
He's able to do that?
He put so much.
I knew you didn't watch.
He put so much mustard on that thing. It kind of went around.
You know about that bullet, Dan, where it goes around the one person or like a pole maybe, and it hits the person he wants?
You're already sick of Trinidad Chambliss talk?
I am. Yeah, I am. That's right.
We just got back from the new year.
I know, and you guys are talking about him like he's guaranteed to just run through steamroll. Have you watched the Hurricanes defense?
Because Miami's
Feels like you
back,
haven't.
and this is what it sounds like. It sounds like Michael Irvin. It sounds like Miami's getting throaty. It sounds like you're going to have to hear about this for the entirety of the week because we want you to hate all of it by Thursday. Otherwise, it doesn't feel like it used to.
Will you trust more, Canes defense or Trinidad Chambliss?
Well, getting rid of it quickly, I do not trust it. I mean, if you neutralize their edge rush, which Ohio State, it's not like they don't know what needs to be stopped, okay? They've won 2 games on defense. They've won 2 games on Reuben Bain as a first-round pick, obviously. One of the rare defensive players that you're always circling and always watching because there's the chance, and you can – there are a couple of guys. Myles Garrett does this. Myles Garrett did it yesterday to break the sack record, where a man who's physically stronger than everyone else also can get lower quicker than you, cutting the corner. He's just all he's doing is running from where he is to your quarterback. There's nothing impeding him because you can't.
A massive statue back there. Like, I can't get around this guy.
No, but so I don't want to get spoiled or numb to this, okay? Myles Garrett broke the sack record at a time in the NFL where guys aren't sitting back there for 5 seconds anymore. Everyone's getting rid of the ball fast because they're scared of Myles Garrett.
Man, I don't want to hear about that. That's a fake sack record.
What are you on about?
What do you mean, what am I on about?
What are you on about?
That's a fake sack record.
It's got some cockamamie thing you're doing.
What do you mean, why?
Yeah, just why? Tell me.
Okay, am I talking to Mike Ryan who pretends he's a Browns fan?
I'm not a Browns fan. I'm not.
Okay.
What are you throwing?
I'm just making sure.
Look, guy, I'm riding high. Let's move on.
Myles Garrett gets the fake sack record yesterday. He surpasses T.J. Watt and Strahan in a 17th game. All right. Those guys were only allowed to play 16 games. So not only did he get the record in a 7, how do we not acknowledge that he had more games?
It's totally fair.
And it's not like he surpassed the sack record by 3 sacks or 4 sacks. 1 sack in the final game.
Important work you're doing.
We're acknowledging. Yes.
Okay.
You can count to 1.
And
you can count to 1.
And let's just all, let's just say the quiet part out loud. Joe Burrow took a dive.
Joe Burrow took a dive
Such
on.
A clear
did
dive.
you see Mina's tweet about the Miles's get off on that sack was the fastest in the league?
Awesome.
On a sack.
What does that have to do with Joe Burrow taking a dive?
Because he had 0.2 of a second to take. I don't think he processed that he was taking a dive.
And maybe Myles Garrett touched Joe Burrow with a finger, and Joe Burrow just went to the ground.
Have you seen what Myles Garrett looks like? Yeah, touching him with the finger might send him to the ground.
The funniest part to me was watching Myles Garrett's teammates try to avoid touching him. This is not me. I don't want any part of this. That's his sack.
It was so obvious a dive by Joe Burrow.
So are you saying he pulled a Brett Favre?
Yeah,
basically?
Okay,
absolutely.
That was not that bad. It was not as bad. If that was a 10, that was a 5.
Myles Garrett wasn't even near him.
So you can count to 1. I'm not sure you can count to a second because it takes way less than that.
That's 2 for 2 right there.
All right, well, T.J. Watt, you mentioned him. 22.5 sacks.
That's right.
You know how many snaps he played?
I don't know.
Why would you? 618.
Okay.
Michael Strahan, 22.5 sacks. You know how many snaps he played? Why would you? 567.
Okay.
You're big on the extra game.
Of course.
22 sacks for Myles Garrett. 437 snaps.
Okay.
You're a fool.
He's lazy.
You're a sucker.
Why is he playing so little?
I mean, that's picking and choosing stats. So
that's
when a
picking and
quarterback,
choosing. When you can count to 1
so when
and say he had an extra game, but he had 200 fewer snaps to get the sack.
Okay, so when a quarterback gets the passing record, do we then look at how many attempts he had compared to the quarterback that he passed before? He only had this many attempts. So this was more impressive. We don't do that. It's ridiculous.
He had 200 fewer chances.
Why does he come out of the game so much?
Maybe it was less snaps because he can't handle full load. How about that?
I want to criticize Myles Garrett now. Play more.
Asking question.
Just to be clear, if you're not familiar with the place, because it is funny that we just lose context in the moment. Myles Garrett has been playing nowhere football in that dumpster fire in Cleveland, giving his Hall of Fame excellence to a true turd of a franchise that has wrecked everything over the last few years around him. His body hurts. He's been through a car accident. I'm not sure how much he actually wanted to be there, but he took all of the money and stayed there, and they were every bit as bad as you think they would. And the great joy of their season is just wrecking Cincinnati and trying to wreck Pittsburgh at the end. But when you talk physically about what this human being is and the toll that takes on the body, there were 5 minutes remaining in that game, and anyone who was watching it was only watching it to see if Burrow would give up a sack to Myles Garrett.
Oh, and he did.
Oh, he gave it up, but he got there so fast, at least in part because Myles Garrett has never wanted anything in his life as bad as he wanted to do something in those 5 minutes, which is the last of what he had on the season. If people don't understand what it takes to be great at that sport physically, that dude, this is how I will tell you what you can give me Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White and everyone else, and I'll understand. But for the modern age on how they're playing football, my proof is look at him. Just look at that left tackle paid higher than anyone in the sport to keep him out of the backfield, who as soon as he leans on him, the left tackle cannot do anything about it. He's going to be at Burrow in 2 seconds. He's sacked him 11 times the last couple of times they've played because he's an unblockable human being. It's asinine. What that guy, look, there are some physical specimens in that sport. Nobody cares because it's Tennessee, but Jeffrey Simmons, I don't understand how that man is that much stronger than everyone else and that much faster. No one cares about the Titans. But what Myles Garrett did physically in that league after 17 games at the end of that nowhere season, I can't imagine how bad he wanted that sack at the end to get that gladiator moment. It's the best moment he will ever have as a Cleveland Brown. There will be none better than that. That is the best moment of his career now and forevermore because his excellence will be swallowed by what that dumpster fire is.
If he wanted the record that bad, why wouldn't he play more? I'm confused why he didn't play more plays.
The snaps?
Did they just they just want to keep
I think
him fresh?
they would argue that they probably get more out of them in certain situations.
I agree.
You
It's
need
like a pitch
rotation.
count. It's ridiculous.
I got to be honest. You throwing the snap count in there, I don't. It's such a weak move.
That's such a good point, though, because I was with you. I'm like, games.
You said one more game.
How can you make so much more important?
What?
Then 200 more opportunities?
The extra game gives literally the extra game.
Do you not know how this
gave
works?
him the opportunity.
Games are full with snaps, though. You can only play snaps in these games.
I understand how that works, all right? But literally, it's undebatable, without the extra game, he doesn't get the record.
Zaz, I'm sorry to tell you this. You're embarrassing yourself. It's happened. You've done it. You've stuck your foot in your mouth.
If there was not a 17th game, this is a yes or no question. It's real simple.
He played less snaps than those guys.
At least I think it's simple, okay? Maybe it's not as simple. Maybe this is a different brain than the brain over there. If Myles Garrett did not have if the Cleveland Browns, if the NFL didn't play a 17th game in Week 18 yesterday, yes or no? Yes or no? Is Myles Garrett the sack king?
This is sad.
Yes or no?
This is sad.
The answer is no.
I'm sad for you.
And it doesn't matter how many snaps he took because the answer's still no.
But the snaps, I feel like, do matter.
So if they didn't play the game yesterday, would you have been coming here talking about he's the sack king, even though he has half a sack less than the record because he has less snaps? What kind of stupidity
when I
is
heard
that?
when I heard he only had that few snaps, I would have been like,
you would
wow.
make that case?
I would be like,
the games provide the extra snaps.
Yeah. Exactly.
But if he had more snaps than the other guys, I'd be like, yeah, you're onto something because that's obvious.
So if he didn't have the extra game and he was half a sack fewer than Strahan and Watt, you would sit here and say, Zaslow, I know he doesn't have more sacks, but he did this in so many fewer snaps. So
I want to keep engaging you.
What's more important to getting the record? Games or
I'm so embarrassed for you, Mike Ryan, that I'm going to stop.
I'm okay.
What's more important, games or snaps? That's what we're debating.
I'm embarrassed for you. Well, clearly games is more important because he needed the
I would argue
game.
snaps. I would argue if you had 900 snaps in 8 games.
You a big 72 Dolphins guy?
I mean, whatever.
Are you a big 72 Dolphins guy?
No, not really.
No, you better not be because you're a games guy.
Okay, I'm embarrassed for you, though. I'm still embarrassed. Just like I was a minute ago.
I'm a
still
Goodyear
embarrassed
Cotton Bowl
for you.
Classic champion. You don't have to worry about me.
All right.
your Peach Bowl breath. you put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can Myles Garrett really be the sack king if it's one extra game? And also put on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Myles Garrett the sack king because he did it in fewer snaps?
Crazy.
Because I don't actually even know if Myles Garrett maybe like missed some time. Was he injured at all? Did he miss games?
I'm still not even 100% sure the set is real because it was so shocking. I kept Googling it.
Usually you're unsure if stats are real because they don't matter.
I don't want to do this anymore with you guys. He's an unblockable human being, and if you tell me
he's the second greatest.
Let's not forget what he did to Billy at Radio Row.
They don't have anyone else, people. Please understand that every game plan every week is just please don't let that man wreck our quarterback. Also, I want to point out to people, this happened during the break. Why was it reported by Adam Schefter all of a sudden that the Dolphins had offered 4 first-round picks to the Bengals for Joe Burrow, for the rights to draft Joe Burrow? Where did that come from? Why was that out there at the time that it was out there? Who leaked that?
Because they were playing the Bengals. And so it was Burrow playing against the Dolphins, and that was just an added storyline for it. You know, you had to get people to watch that game. Yeah. So that's Adam Schefter doing the league a solid. We did have some breaking news on as we were talking about Trinidad Chambliss and his NFL prospects. Provided he gets an additional year, that waiver from the NCAA, it is being reported that he has agreed to return to Ole Miss, hinging on that waiver.
God, enough of this Trinidad Chambliss.
Per Jordan Schultz, the Titans have requested to interview Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy for their vacant head coaching position.
Did you want to do the carousel? I thought you were going to break in with your Pete Fairbanks news. That was
Pete Fairbanks has signed with the Miami Marlins.
They spent money.
$13 million on that guy. He throws hard.
That's the story there. More than Pete Fairbanks, the Marlins spent money.
Guys, this guy is one of the best characters in baseball. I love hearing him interviewed so much. He seems to be flamboyantly weird and enjoys it and throws 107 miles an hour, and some of it's in the strike zone.
What's great about Pete Fairbanks is not only is he like one of the best relievers in baseball, but now, as the weirdo that you're about to hear, he might still be the second weirdest guy in that bullpen because they have a guy who slaps himself in the face before every time he comes out of the bullpen. But Fairbanks is equally as weird as he is dominant on the mound.
We were playing in our new house in the pool, and I pulled the pool basketball hoop down onto my face after dunking on a 3-year-old to, kind of teach him an early lesson in life that, when you're in the paint, you cannot be caught unawares underneath the rim. And did that end up with me with a black eye? Yes. So
I love this guy.
Marlins should spend money on that stadium.
We'll get to that in a second because I do want to talk about the Winter Classic. But just the Fairbanks signing is a wonderful one because I can't wait for this guy to get in front of cameras and be interviewed. He has been funny even after games when he's been terrible.
no, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck. So, we're going to try and rectify that. But for right now, I'm going to be pretty pissed about it.
Oh, looks like Rose there.
He does. Same nose, Rose.
But how many pitches did he suck in? Because if it was fewer pitches that he sucked, that's more important than someone who pitches a lot more and sucks, right?
You're going to keep.
You don't want to play this.
You're going to keep doing this to Myles Garrett today. The Browns. Are you disputing what I'm saying, that this is the greatest moment Myles Garrett will have in his career? He will not have a better one in that uniform.
Oh, well, no, in that uniform, that'll be his best moment, yeah. He'll probably play for somebody else at some point.
So. Okay, but
hard contract to move, famously.
In that, look, man. Throughout sports, we are seeing the age of mastery. LeBron James, Shohei Ohtani, just
Keontae Scott.
Sheer lunacy throughout sports. We are witnessing it, are we not? Are we not? We're living this.
Yeah.
You don't view this as a form of mastery?
He's probably the best defensive player in football. I'm not disputing that. I'm telling you that he had to get a record in extra games, and the quarterback who he got it against took a dive.
Dude,
that's it.
There was a play. They ran a pick back Devin Bush ran a pick six, and Myles Garrett had the speed to help nuke the play at the line of scrimmage.
He's incredible.
Catch up to Devin Bush, who was like, hey, do you want this touchdown just to help boost your argument for a deep point? And he's like, nah, go ahead. He threw a block and killed somebody. It was an incredible feat of athleticism that was just so casual.
He missed the block, actually, because he was running around in circles. Just his speed and athleticism was just sort of circling around the pick six.
Just casually pulled back up to Devin Bush, and he's like, no, you should take it. I'll take it. You should take it.
But I think he wanted Myles Garrett to block. That was almost not a pick six because Myles Garrett was just sort of do-si-doing around the pick six.
He was like, hey, you want this? And Myles Garrett literally goes like, I don't, like he's pondering.
No one is telling you Myles Garrett is incredible. I'll sit here and tell you he's the best defensive player in the game.
Okay, that's not even what I'm saying because you're measuring him against now. What I'm saying is if we're living in an age of mastery and you concede to me that the left tackle is more athletic and 360 pounds and bigger and stronger than he's ever been and the quarterback's getting it out faster than he ever has, this is the best you've ever seen at getting back there. Everyone knows he's the one that's got to. He's the one that's got to be blocked. Year after year, everyone knows he's the one that's got to be blocked. For him to have that year this year on a defense that is okay because he has that year, like this is the best you've ever seen, and I don't think that's prisoner of the moment.
That is by far a superior point than your less snaps in 17 games nonsense.
Okay.
That right there I understand. But it's still, he needed the extra game to get the sack. But everything you just said, I can jive with.
The good thing about points is you can pick and choose and form like an entirely new point using all this data. Data is important.
Are you effing with me?
That was the second best pick six of the weekend. The best being Keontae Scott picking off Julian Sayin and talking shit to the Ohio State sideline the entire run back, all to end it with the Jim Thorpe Award pose in the end zone.
With turf toe. I want to go back again and have you guys give me a Mount Rushmore, because I don't think Scott can go in that discussion yet, although maybe in retrospect we will think about it that time. Ed Reed had a play years ago to preserve an undefeated season at the goal line. He ran 90 yards with a football, the only game Miami would have lost that season. That goes in the Pantheon, correct?
May I, a sneaky submission here. C.J. Daniels' catch against Notre Dame ends up being like the most consequential catch in Miami history because they don't win the game without that catch. They don't get in the CFP without that catch. In retrospect, that catch becomes even greater than it was in the moment.
I got Dorsey to Shockey.
So that was the rejuvenation of the program that feels not unlike this one when I say they came back from probation and then they beat Florida State. Last drive of the game type stuff. Dorsey to Shockey, and it births all the tight ends that would come after Shockey because once you get one and once you get it rolling and once the business of it gets rolling, you're in Miami. Everybody wants to live in Miami. Why wouldn't it be a giant program? It's a better place to live than Wisconsin. Like why wouldn't all the football players want to be around here year round playing at Miami? That's Cristobal's advantage. It always has been. And now it's also no state income tax because we're playing that game now, too, in the business of we have the most expensive quarterback. Like, that's what they went out and got Carson Beck and paid him a salary in the millions. I think it's been reported over $3 million. He's the highest paid player, correct?
You'll see some numbers out there. The one that's most out there is 4.2. Maybe it got there with incentives. It wasn't what it was.
But he's not their best player or their most important player. They have first-round picks along the offensive and defensive line. That is how they will beat you. The other teams do not have that. The four remaining teams do not have that.
Yeah, what is it, $7 million on the offensive line?
It's not 4 first-round picks in the trenches.
Yeah, Miami has the best line of scrimmage left in the college football playoff.
With a coach who just wants to hit you in the face with a mallet.
I like it.
Yeah. He's had to learn to adapt, but we'll see if they can adapt again. I am worried about the ability to get rid of the ball quick and run tempo. It's always been Miami's heel.
But why would you be worried if you have the Michael Irvin sound to carry with you in the huddle, just shouting at anyone that'll listen? This is how Miami's going to play football this week. What is that the sound of? If I didn't give you the context of what this is, if I just told you this is only and exclusively an audio experience, you do not have any context for this other than what is this sound?
Someone struggling to stay afloat, like in the ocean.
You have it being a human being, though. You do.
Yes, I got
let's keep it. I think the ambient noise, let's try and eliminate the stadium noise and just isolate the sound. I know we can't do this with audio right now, but I just ask you to close your eyes and imagine. What is this sound? I've given you no context. You don't know it's Michael Irvin with a belt on the sideline spanking a cooler or whatever. You just know nothing.
The witch at the end of The Wizard of Oz.
I think it sounds like someone's on fire.
Same thing.
While running.
That's great, actually.
That's pretty good. Zaz,
people going, stop, drop, and roll.
Yes. So someone has just emerged from a look. Oh my God! That person from that building waving his arms.
Yeah.
He's on fire.
That's how I imagine it.
Lay down, roll over.
But he's not listening because he's on fire. So it's hard. His senses aren't picking up what you're saying.
Anyone beat that? I can't beat that.
I want to do funniest thing from the time that we were off, and I also want to bang around the room here and ask you guys, what's the most interesting thing we weren't able to talk about over the last 2 weeks? Give me one thing and one thing only. Chris Cody, we begin the bidding with you.
Hey people, tell us what in the sport made you laugh hardest this weekend. It is a segment we call What Made You Laugh This Weekend. Ha ha ha!
I'm going with just the Patriots taking over the Dolphins again. They were bad. They had Brady. They were bad. And now they're back again, and it's annoying. This Drake May's good, and the Dolphins stink. And for me, over the break, that's what I sat in the entire time.
Is the Patriot run here something that you guys believe America believes? Like, they have not lost very much. They have dragged the bottom of their division, and they get to play against that other cruddy division that no one should be in the playoffs from. They get
I think
to play,
so.
Like, nobody actually believes that that's going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, correct? Like, most people believe that Jacksonville can beat that, and Houston can beat that, and the Chargers might beat that, and Denver might beat that, correct? Or do you think that most people listening to this are saying, yeah, the Patriots are back, Drake May is indeed an MVP, he is somebody who's just as good as Josh Allen, and I believe this is his signature moment, he's going to take down every team in the sport?
I think they're on the same level right now as all of those teams you just mentioned. Jacksonville. Like, why would you believe more in Jacksonville or Denver than Drake May in New England? Like, Drake May's the best quarterback of that group right there. So why would you believe in those teams more than New England?
Because I haven't believed in New England all year, and now it would require me to change my mind.
But, like, you believe in Jacksonville all year?
No, I haven't. It's not that I trust anyone in the AFC, but I'm not doing this by definition the way that you're doing it, where it's like, oh, let me choose all the teams I don't trust. Those would be all the ones in the AFC. Yeah. Like, we can do that with every single one in the AFC. You don't trust any of them. I guess the question I'm asking you is, who do you mistrust the least? Because everyone listening to this is going to say, yeah, I could distrust Bo Nix, and yes, I could distrust the Patriots, and of course I could distrust Jacksonville, and the Steelers aren't any good. I know they're not any good. They're just another Mike Tomlin miracle. Oh, I've been watching the Houston Texans the last 9 games. I was asleep while Davis Mills was saving their season, and now they've got the defense to beat anybody. And if the Chargers were actually healthy, they too could win the Super Bowl with Jonathan Zaslau's greatest coach ever, Jim Harbaugh.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because somebody said it that way on ESPN Radio this weekend on a show with you.
Really?
I heard it. Yeah, it was Zaslau's.
Did Trevor Maddich call me Zaslaw?
Yeah, I was embarrassed for whoever it was, but I did not know who it was. I'm sorry that they did that. They need to understand that yours is a name that deserves respect.
Thank you.
Roy, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
Kickers, Dan, specifically in last night's game between the Ravens and Steelers, because the Steelers season came down to 2 missed kicks.
It's stupid, right, that we decide games this game? We're going to agree that no other sport does it this way. Let's decide it at the end with a guy who doesn't play the sport that all the other guys play. Like, it's a dumb way to do it, right? That Myles Garrett can't win because at the end, a soccer player comes out and plays a totally different sport.
You see Derrick Henry's face when the kick was no good last night?
Him mouthing like he missed it?
It's like if extra innings in baseball was a 3-point shootout. It really is that different.
we don't have anything like it, right? Here's the game.
That would be if there were
played.
3-point shots throughout the game, though, sprinkled in. Like, we do kick throughout the game.
Ole Miss has a good kicker.
Really good.
Yeah.
Professional kicker. Going to get drafted.
So do we.
Mike Ryan, what was the funniest thing from the sports weekend?
DK Metcalf punched a guy. And then that guy had a press conference with a backwards flex fit hat. And I know you, Jonathan Zaslow, definitely appreciated that look.
What's wrong with that?
DK Metcalf came very close to costing Pittsburgh its season. Aaron Rodgers hit the end of his career, possibly. And instead, Pittsburgh wins last night because a kicker comes out at the end. And by the way, Pittsburgh is no better or more playoff worthy today because one kick was missed by one kicker from 44 yards that he would have made 86% of the time. But now Pittsburgh's season advances.
Weird. Myles Garrett and DK Metcalf, they have these unprecedented body types and these weird fits of rages. I don't know what's going on there.
Was this real, this Lions fan press conference? This seemed fake.
No, it was real.
Let's play it. After this guy had an incident with DK Metcalf, he got a table together and did a press conference. Let's start this over, guys.
But there's two things: animal abuse, racism. Like, I get hot right away. Like, I can feel it in my face. It gets all warm. So I guess I want to be crystal clear about one thing. I didn't use any racial slurs, no hate speech. I mean, none of that stuff at the game. Actually, never. 15 years season ticket holder for the Lions. I've never done that at all. So, to Kalen, if you're watching this, man, if you could just say that, please. Like, my family's getting threats and stuff, and it's not cool. So, whether you said that or not, I'm sure you didn't want that to happen to the family. Even if you did, like, I forgive you, man.
Well, hold on. Maybe I heard this wrong.
Lots to unpack there.
Did he just say that racism and animal abuse makes his face warm?
Yeah,
I
he
hear that
gets
right?
hot. Yeah, he does.
If there's
he
two
hates
things
those
in
two
this
things.
world, Roy, it's
He
those
hates-
two things.
He hates
Wow.
those things.
Wow.
That's the part you seized on, Roy, of all of what was happening there. That's what you seized on, that he gave you a window into his soul by saying these are the two things that he cannot abide.
I'm getting hot just saying it now.
I thought he did a convincing job of making me know that he cares about those things.
Yeah, I got the hot face.
Makes my face all warm.
And he did have a little barb at DK by calling him by his given name.
Well, but what happened there?
So, according to some eyewitness reports, what set off the entire situation was that fan using DK's first name, and for him to use the opportunity at that presser to kind of needle him one more time is funny.
But we laugh at this. Did he cost himself $45 million in guarantees? Did DK
Potentially.
I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, we missed that. Glad we can talk about it.
Greg Cody might care. Stephen A. Smith might care. But you know what? You all sold out. Every single one of you, okay? Stephen A. Smith jumped inside the circus tent. I don't blame him. Why'd he do it? Because he had to do it. Because the game has changed. You jumped inside the circus tent. You did. You did so with me. Think about that. With me and with Greg Cody every Tuesday, okay? And so you have ditched journalism a long, long time ago because why? Survival of the fittest, Dan. You have to change with the times. You have to roll with a changing environment, roll with a changing industry, and that's what you decided to do. That's what Stephen A. decided to do. And for Woj, for guys like him, the game has changed slightly, where he went out and he seeked reports, and he wanted to be the reporter. And you know what? If now he has morphed into a mouthpiece for the Blazers, I'm okay with it. I am good with it. I don't
Survival
care.
of the fattest.
Everyone, exactly. Everyone is
Wow,
selling out to make
Wait
a
minute.
buck.
What a terrible timing.
It
by
was
you.
great.
Like that joke.
Hey, just
was-
give it up. You all want to be journalists. You're not journalists anymore. None of you. Not a one of you. Sorry.
You didn't even hear the joke. You
Oh,
said
I did. Survival of the fattest. It was great.
It just could have been done after Stugotz stopped talking, Dad.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Shoehorn that
But I'm
in.
okay. I'm okay
You're
with
splitting
it.
hairs.
Right.
Okay.
You adapt. You roll with things, man. That's it. You know, Dan, you started off, you know, if you're a driver, you drove a yellow cab and you were loyal to the yellow cab. You know what? But the game has changed to Uber, to Lyft, to private driving. And you know what? You have to ditch the yellow cab and you have to drive an Uber. Why? Because you'll make more money. Why? Because more people are taking Uber than the dirty yellow cabs. That's why. That's what you do. No one cares about journalism. You know what they care about? Laughing, being entertained. And you do a great job of that. And Stephen A. Smith does a great job of that. No one cares about journalism. People care about smiling. That's it.
You know, this morning I found myself while I was driving Claire to school. I told her, you know, you ask a lot of questions. You should be a journalist. And now here in this conversation, I just, you know what? Don't be a journalist. Like,
Exactly.
do something else.
It's over.
Sad.
You're going to let Stugotz parent your daughter. You think that's a good idea?
You think journalism is a good occupation to choose now?
No, I would not. Listen, not only is it not a good occupation to choose, I have looked around Miami and realized we're the only ones providing the jobs we're presently providing. I heard local TV reporters are making 45 grand a year.
Huh.
I couldn't believe that's how bad local television is struggling, that's the place that has arrived. And I told Chris Cody not to get into this business at all because it's terrible.
But Stephen A. Smith is making more money than he's ever made in his entire life. He has more power. He has more of everything than he's ever had in his entire life. You want him to give that up because of journalism? Like, get out of here.
I believe you can do both. You're being very
How?
you're being very absolute about this. First of all, he does. He
Right.
does reporting, does journalism. He is very credible. When he gives information, it's not like Skip Bayless giving information. There is a difference. Skip Bayless also allegedly a journalist, but he's been contaminated by this thing and distorted by it in ways that are even more poisonous because he doesn't do any reporting anymore. Like, he doesn't talk to people in a way that's informed. Stephen A. actually goes to things, has relationships, and certainly when he's talking about basketball, if Stephen A. gives you information that's not opinion, you trust that it's informed.
No doubt. But every time he does that show, Dan, every single episode, his journalistic integrity, it shreds away. Little by little, piece by piece, it just does. He is doing a debate show debating the most ridiculous topics in the history of sports. Like, it has to affect your credibility.
Stugotz, it has happened.
And you sitting next to me does not help. I mean,
or my dad or Cody, because I said to
Cody?
myself, generations of Codys, because I did say to myself, this is one of the things I find funny about Stephen A. and thinking that he and I do the same thing, because once I got to PTI and it was argument television, I said I'd like to try to do it differently, but I guess that sounds highfalutin. I don't want to do debate shows.
The knuckleball is dead.
The knuckleballer is dead now, correct? Completely dead. There's no one. Is there anyone throwing the knuckleball now?
Someone has to be throwing.
Yeah. I would say Tim Wakefield was pretty
None of us
bad.
have one. We're just like, yeah.
No, there has to
There's
be.
got to be. Well, wait a minute. The knuckleballer didn't go extinct without anyone telling us.
As
did it?
long as there's breath in my lungs, there's a knuckleballer out there.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show. As long Lucy Rodin spent another season crushing it for us. It's why she is on all those lists of greatest newcomers in the history of newcoming to all of sports things. She was at the University of Miami game, Texas A&M. She got an exclusive get. Mike Ryan was there to be interviewed, and that is on YouTube if you want to see the report from Texas A&M, that weird cult that Miami dispatched in the first round. But before we get to Lucy, I want to put in front of the audience and Lucy, referee Jeremy was mortified by this. People said that Jeremy is this as a referee, that Bill Kennedy enjoys himself some voice of Bill Kennedy.
A lot of people have been tagging me in this.
The defensive player makes contact to the chest and forearm prior to the movement of the offensive player, resulting in the defensive foul being upheld and the coach's challenge is unsuccessful. After reviewing the play, the out of bounds that was called correctly due to the fact that there was no illegal contact by the defender, resulting in Philadelphia ball at midcourt. The coach's challenge is unsuccessful.
I love this man with my whole heart. That's entertainment value. I'm so excited that people feel like that's how I deliver
And it's
things.
not just the audio, he's playing to the camera.
Oh, yeah,
with like
he is.
long
It's awesome.
blinks.
The shaking of the head.
And the challenge has been unsuccessful.
He knows the people love it.
I don't like it.
Why?
He's mocking and the coach's challenge is unsuccessful. He's mocking the coach.
Tremendous. That's the best.
If
It's
I'm
probably
the
a bad
coach-
challenge.
If I'm the coach, I'm so angry right now. You're not allowed to mock me.
Lucy,
mid-game.
what are your thoughts here?
He's serving see you next Tuesday. That is electric. I couldn't love it more. And the second I heard his voice, I said, damn, they got Jeremy's ass. That is so Jeremy.
You don't like that he's a showman? You don't want him to, you don't appreciate that he comes from a lineage of look at me referees like Steve Javi?
It's like, just deliver the thing. I feel that way with Jeremy sometimes. Just give me the info.
Okay, relax.
Just give me what you want to say.
Yep. Just let's keep the game moving.
What's wrong with whimsy and joy and adding a little performance into our lives? Sorry, he's romanticizing his job.
Thank you, Lucy.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. What's wrong with whimsy and joy at Le Batard
Yes or
Show?
no?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Let's tell me, there was an Eiffel Tower situation. I don't know what your feeling is here before we get to college football on elevators, Lucy, but evidently somebody was fearing heights in the Eiffel Tower and got onto an elevator with someone who was scared. So let's play this audio and
Yeah, they're
video.
heading up to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and I just want you to, how would you react if this person was in your elevator?
Oh my God, why am I doing this? Oh my God! Oh my God, I'm dizzy! I'm dizzy! Mom. Oh my God, I'm dizzy! Breathe! Breathe! Why? Don't do this! Oh my God! Oh my God! Why? Mom, please. Mom, people do this every day. You're fine. It's okay. You don't know how I feel right now! You're almost done. Oh my God, I can't see!
I can't bleeping see at the end.
Why?
I feel
I
bad
would
for the
giggle.
kids that are with her. Like the kids you could hear are mortified.
Like, Mom, people do this every day. You don't know how I feel right now.
Why? Why? So you don't have to walk. That's why.
That was me before Bryce Fitzgerald's pick in the end zone.
Speaking of which, Lucy, your thoughts on Ohio State, Miami, and Miami, Mississippi?
Well, Ohio State, Miami was just better, right? And that score was closer than it was because you had that early turnover in the game. I did not think Miami would win that. I do think Miami's going to beat Ole Miss. I think that the way they match up is very interesting. When it comes down to like what happened with Ole Miss and Georgia, I genuinely feel like Trinidad Chambliss broke Kirby Smart because he was making decisions he would never normally make. Where going for it on 4th and 2 when it's a close game, okay, I don't think you need to do that when you're basically in your own end zone at this point. And then you have that final drive at the end of the game where they were just so poor with how they were managing the clock. They were moving so quickly when they really didn't need to, and they put Ole Miss in that position to win that game. I don't necessarily know if that's going to translate to the next round, where I think Miami's defensive front is so good that it can cause some problems where Trinidad Chambliss won't have the opportunity to break Mario Cristobal. But I'm really excited for this matchup because Trinidad Chambliss has been one of the most fun players to watch this year. And Miami, what they've done through this postseason run has been nothing short of incredible. They've been more physical every game. They've looked better every game. That defense has just been a joy and a pleasure to watch. So I'm really, really excited.
Lucy, do you think Lane Kiffin watches these games?
Yeah, absolutely. He was live tweeting through it. He kept tweeting the flag of Trinidad to be like, no, I support. I believe he was trying to originally go on the broadcast.
Yeah, that's
and
what I heard.
give his commentary. Obviously, that did not work out, and players came out afterwards, and they were like, we won this game in spite of you to troll you because we heard you were doing stuff like that. He's absolutely staying tuned.
Do we have any context, Mike, historical context for the sheer absurdity of what's happening with this bowl game and the Lane Kiffin assistance? Like, is there any context, Lucy, in your lifetime that you can remember of things being so messy that a team that's about to play for the championship, half of its staff belongs to Lane Kiffin and Lane Kiffin has left?
The closest context is when Nick Saban had to fire Lane Kiffin because he was taking the FAU job. That's the closest thing I can get, which is also a Lane Kiffin scenario. Mike and I were texting about it a little bit yesterday. It's like this is also a Lane Kiffin problem, but it's very much just the calendar in college football is very broken, that like you are still competing for a national championship while and this is happening at Kentucky as well with Will Stein, and you're still having to host people for the transfer portal. It's just a giant mess.
Lucy, why, I mean, in a similar context, why did Ryan Day take over the play calling duties from Brian Hartline, who was still on the sidelines for that game?
He said that it was because he had so much on his plate. He wanted to make it easier for him to still continue to coach at Ohio State and, take that job at USF. I don't know why he would do that, because it was very funny. There's a direct, change in time when Ryan Day stopped calling plays to when Ohio State won a national championship. So he was like, let's go back. Let's just switch it up one more time. And then they lost immediately.
Yeah, this is the third consecutive game in the college football playoff in which Miami goes up against an offensive coordinator that is leaving the job either for a head coach or for a position at LSU.
Lucy, can you please help me understand what to make of modern college football business when 31.5% of the football players are presently in the portal?
Well, Dan, all I really need to say is Iowa's punter entered the portal. That's how you know we have a problem. What do you mean you want to leave Iowa as our punter? That's insane. This is reaching a point where I think they're going to have to reinstate some rules and regulations, because obviously the way it was before isn't good. But from my perspective, what I think they should do is everyone gets one free transfer. You get a transfer if your head coach leaves, and that should be the end of the list, because you are seeing it now more than ever where players are going to 4 different schools in 4 years. Obviously, you're probably not getting a good education if that is the point, but let's be honest, we didn't come here to play school. I think the NIL day and age has been so we underestimated how much money there would be involved and how lucrative it would be. Even today, I saw a USC transfer going to West Virginia, and I saw that he was paid $550,000 last year to play football for USC, and he only had 1 catch on the season. So, you are just in this, weird sort of no one knows what's going on. They're throwing money at everything, and it's causing everyone to jump, because why would you not leave for greener pastures if you know you can get paid, especially in a sport like football where you don't necessarily know if you always have a future in it, and you don't necessarily know if this is something that's going to last you beyond college, so why not make the money now? It's a giant nightmare, but for 30% of players to be in the portal, a good chunk of those will not find homes. They are going to end up back at their old school, or something else is going to happen, but it is genuinely insane and unreasonable.
Lucy, if you're Miami, would you rather go against Trinidad Chambliss or Kirby Smart?
I would probably rather go against Kirby Smart right now, just with the way the Trinidad Chambliss looked last week. He was phenomenal and electric, and he's so much fun. But I really like Miami's defensive front. I think they match up well against each other, so that's going to be the real matchup.
Are you not allowing, when you consider that, are you not allowing what kind of advantages a champion coach would have over specifically a player that played for him for 2 years, whose every weakness he's going to be able to prepare for?
I do think that is something that like kind of factors into it, but what I've been most impressed with Miami through this run is the poise that Carson Beck has shown, because that was sort of the issue for me with Miami going into the postseason. Was you have seen how Carson Beck in a scenario where he needs to win a game will fall apart and throw 5 interceptions. He has not done that this postseason. So I think I'd rather go against Trinidad Chambliss, where you're going up against this. Actually, I changed my answer. You know what, Dan? Your question was so good, I changed my answer. I do want to go against Trinidad Chambliss now.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What just happened? So
I
you
changed my answer.
Okay,
I got new information. I changed my answer.
I didn't think you can change your mind like
You
that.
absolutely can. That's a life lesson for everybody.
Okay, I guess we'll have to allow that.
We all need to be more like me.
That I guess so you had an opinion and you changed it in mid-flight while having the opinion.
Absolutely.
We just witnessed. Is this a historic? Is this why she's one of the best and wisest up-and-comers in the history of sports up and coming, because she can change her mind about a take while she's having it. So what?
Yes,
it's
bold of a person to admit that they were wrong or that they've changed their mind, and I don't mind doing that. That's why I've been in therapy for 5 straight years.
I feel like it's a legitimately good sports radio question to ask of somebody. If you're Miami, would you rather play the better quarterback? Because Gunnar Stockton does not scare Miami at all. That is not what Trinidad Chambliss is. The idea that we don't actually understand the machinations of the coaching machine, and that Kirby Smart would be confident enough against Mississippi to do a double reverse fake pass when you're playing for – that's crazy, okay, to have that kind of looseness because you've played for the championship so much, but also to have the advantages over the frail psyche of a kid who grew up on his watch, a champion coach knowing what a kid's weaknesses are.
No, I mean, this makes it easier for Carson Beck, because that was the narrative. After the Ohio State game, that was like the first question Scott Van Pelt asked him was like, you know who's potentially coming next, and he didn't really want to answer the question. But to avoid that sort of narrative and that conversation, I think is good for Carson Beck, even though I think he's played with such poise throughout this postseason that I'm not sure how much of that would be an issue. I love Miami's defense. I think that's what this matchup comes down to, and it's probably good that the spotlight isn't on Carson Beck so much.
Do you guys want to imagine what it was like to be next to Carson Beck as he was watching Mississippi, Georgia? What do you guys imagine he was rooting?
I think he was rooting for Georgia.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think he was.
You don't think he wants the opportunity to beat them?
I think he's happy to see them gone. Okay. And I don't think he had the greatest of departures with Georgia. If he was the one to do it, fine. But the fact that he doesn't have to be the one to do it, and they didn't get this far, and he already gets to have that feather in his cap.
His mentions are cleaner this week.
Yeah, it would be a tough week for the young man to handle with all that stuff. Now he doesn't have to worry about it. We're reposting Colby Young holding an upside-down U and Jaden Harris saying grass is greener. Like, we don't have to – that's already behind him.
I know that I can do some things here that can feel like infantilizing, but I'm not trying to do it when I keep saying kid of Carson Beck. You guys do understand whatever you were as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in college – whatever this spotlight is, like, it can be super confusing for someone who's not yet an adult. And to have your frailties examined by the internet, and to have your psyche questioned as fragile. Because Lucy, I remember talking on the phone with Lucy. She's like standing on the field and she's like, here comes the Carson Beck interception when she's watching in some close game in Georgia. To have that reputation as a kid, if you're reading everything that's on the internet, holy shit, is it easier to play Mississippi than Georgia this week? To have Georgia come out of the woodwork to tell you all week what a shitty kid you were when you were there. Like, I just can't imagine, as we keep making the money bigger and bigger with these guys, like, you're going to break some of them.
I told you a couple months ago.
That's fair.
He had a very difficult time with the transition over to Miami and what Georgia was saying about him and the internet conjecture and the public breakup and the stolen cars. He had to go back home and kind of rediscover his passion, and he matured a lot over the offseason.
I mean, I think, look, I agree with what you're saying. I would especially agree with what you're saying if it was Miami at Georgia. Like that that I would totally be with you. But I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks he would like to have ended the season.
But you see what you're doing, and I'm curious what you think on this, Lucy. What Zaslow is doing here is that I can imagine that's what a great competitor would want at every turn. But you're making it the stadium and something that's not real to you. The internet is real to people this age. The internet is a poison to people.
But he can stay away from the internet if he wants.
No, but yes, not just that age.
Really.
It's hard, dude.
You can't stay away from the internet as much as you would like to. You can't.
I'm with Lucy on that.
You're always going to hear things. Like there's
all
gonna
right,
be
I got your
conversation.
first couple of clues. Fine, hit it.
Oh, I have
Time
two
to get
today.
in it. It's Lucy's Internet Minute.
So I have two options. Dan, one I think you're going to appreciate, one I think you're going to hate. Which one do you want first?
I only want the one I would appreciate.
Okay, let's start with the one you hate, and we'll just get that out of the way.
I'm glad you asked.
Okay, so there's this girl on TikTok. Her name is Tamara, and she has gone viral because there was this video of this girl being like, here's how I'm going to reset my life in the new year and my New Year's resolutions. And Tamara commented on the video and said, for the new year, I'm going to get 365 buttons. And everyone was like, that's awesome. What are you going to do with the buttons? And she was like, I'm just going to get 365 buttons to represent the passing of time. And people were like, okay, I get it, but like, what are you going to do with the buttons? And she was like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do with the buttons. That's none of your business. It only has to make sense to me what I'm doing with these buttons. And so she's become this sensation because everyone is trying to figure out, what is she going to do with these buttons? Is she going to put them in a jar? Is she going to make a craft out of them? But she won't tell anyone. And she's actually become this kind of icon where she has this like great thing of like, what I do with the buttons only needs to make sense to me, and you guys need to get a life. Like it doesn't matter for you at all. And it's become kind of inspirational. And so that's what's been going on with Tamara and the buttons. Do you have any questions?
How do you know me so well that you knew how much I would hate that? All of that.
Jeremy seemed to like
I need some buttons in my life.
Yeah, she really knows how to push your buttons.
What are my buttons for this year?
That was good. Okay, now here's the other one, Dan, that I think you'll like more.
What?
I thought it was good. Okay, so the other one is that Tom Brady was spotted on a fun little New Year's vacation with one Alex Earl. Do you know who that is, Dan?
I do not.
That is like a very famous influencer. Her and her boyfriend, Braxton Berrios, just broke up.
Oh.
She's quite young, and so her and Tom Brady were spotted together. Things are happening. However, the most important part was that someone took a video of him with his phone flashlight on in his back pocket for a full couple minutes.
Oh, man.
He is like the #1 divorce guy right now because a few weeks ago he posted his little Instagram story after Giselle like announced her or something, whatever, with the song "I Don't Want to Be Alive," but I don't remember the name of the song.
Can we get a list of people that Tom Brady has been linked to since the roast and since the divorce and $375 million
Sophia Vergara,
contract?
I believe there was a rumor.
I think it's just Sofia Vergara and Alex Earl, but Alex Earl, there are pictures, so I don't know. That's linked.
And this, but they that relationship with Braxton Berrios was made famous on Hard Knocks, right? She wasn't a famous influencer before that, or was she?
No, she was a famous influencer.
Dan, you thought Hard Rocks made her?
No, I just don't.
No,
I don't
she was
remember
very,
the
very
details.
famous
All right,
before.
so she was famous before. Forgive me for not having all of my information correct. Okay, I'm sorry. You know what? I'm sorry.
Is your flashlight on?
I thought you would like this one. My bad.
Lucy, thank you for being on with us. Good seeing you again. We're going to get one final report from the last 4 games, yes, or are you totally done for the season?
We're going to the national championship. Maybe I'll stop by the office if you're nice to me.
All right, check out what she did at Texas A&M. Again, a great get. Mike Ryan was there to be
He did
interviewed.
so good.
Just a stunning get by Lucy to go all the way to Texas
great.
A&M so that she could get an exclusive with Mike Ryan. Thank you, Lucy. Appreciate the time.
Bye.
Yeah, that game feels like it was 2 months ago.
When I say this spirit hasn't been here since 2001, I am legitimately asking everybody who's tried to care about Dolphin football since then. No playoff wins in all the time since then, and the professional franchise seems lost again. It's a quarter century of just laughingstock stuff. If not for the Jets, who in this run have made it to AFC Championship games, plural.
You saw, by the way, the Jets made some pretty impressive history yesterday, right?
I couldn't believe that stat. I couldn't. You got the stat of the day music there? I could not believe that stat. To me, there is no greater representation of failure. For the Browns to have Myles Garrett at a Rose in a Sewer in Cleveland celebrating a great moment, there was no more symbolic moment about anything going on in football yesterday than this stat. Oh, no, Tony's waving me off because we're stealing
don't
Tony's
steal the stat. Although on the Myles Garrett stuff, we do have context.
Oh, that's right, we do. That's right. Okay, so how about this, Dan? Thanks to Dave Damashek, Football America, all right? He sent over a tweet from somebody who added some context to Myles Garrett, now the
Why'd you say that way?
The fake king.
Why
of
are you
sacks.
quoting that yammering knob like if he knows something when he's got all these Pittsburgh biases?
Well, let's listen, okay?
That is hanging over this, but it's a good point.
Numbers are numbers.
We like data.
Okay, so Browns opponents, here are the stats. Browns opponents had 540 pass plays during this time period, right? Not Myles Garrett had 540 pass rush attempts. Watt was a pass rusher on 393 of the Steelers' 557 pass plays in the games he played, minus 2 games for injury, of course. Garrett was a pass rusher on 479 of the Browns' 540 pass plays, meaning, Dan, Myles Garrett, almost 22% more attempts than TJ Watt, resulting in just a half sack more, of course, in one extra game. Now, I don't exactly know what all those numbers mean, but I think it helps my case.
Does. And to your larger point of being able to count games, I believe TJ Watt missed games, which is why the snap thing happened there.
Okay.
So you understand games provide the snap.
So it sounds like both things are now in my favor.
It sounds like we have data to parse through and make a determination.
Why
here.
are we quoting that garlic breath yammering knob, Dave Damashek?
It's word association
Football
now.
America. You hear his yammering tapestries. Football America. Every Monday and Friday, he does it really is a weird, funny. He's weird and funny, and that show. and that show has like a funny historical range because he also knows the history of football. Look, what is happening presently in Miami, what I'm in the middle of now that we recognize doing this 21 years in this market. Football never gets to matter like this over the last 20 years down here. We've been screwing around playing a bunch of football for 20 plus years that everyone knows isn't going to result in anything good.
Everyone knows.
This is the best. This is the best that football has felt here in 25 years. And that thing is the best thing I've ever seen in this town in terms of making me fight with the rest of America outside of the Heat team represented by LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. Like that team made a whole generation of people love sports for its attitude. And that team is back. It's been 20 years since you had Sean Taylor and Andre Johnson and Jonathan Vilma and all these people that you knew were going to be playing NFL football.
Well, what can the Canes do? Because I don't feel like there's that hatred right now. Like, what can the Canes do for it to be an us against the world thing?
Why? It's always like that with that helmet. It's always.
You're feeling that?
It's always going to be that way.
Michael Irvin's doing it.
Yeah,
He's not.
it's always gonna be
That's
that
not.
way.
That's a polarizing mascot.
I mean,
that's not beloved, endearing, and charming.
And
it's a guy that's on fire.
That's Miami's obnoxiousness. That volcano's been brewing since he was 19.
Miami's been a pretty strong underdog. They have a story that if they didn't have that helmet, people would be like, more people. The main reason people wanted Notre Dame in over Miami is because people just generally historically don't like Miami. So Miami's got all these great underdog things going for it, but because of the brand, it doesn't feel that way. And they're certainly running into a much better underdog story in Ole Miss.
You guys need to get me. We're going to go out to Tony. But, Tony, I'm going to need you to become a more serious Latin correspondent around here over the course of the next 2 weeks because I believe that we're setting up here for the Miami Cubans against the Indiana Cuban. And it's two very different Miamis and two very different Cubans when it becomes University of Miami against Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza. We've got to build this up. It's going to be the most Cuban. It's got the potential to be the most Cuban national championship football game ever played.
Yeah, Dan, it's a beautiful part. Thank you, by the way. It's a beautiful part of the college football universe where for so long, since the inception basically of college football, the Cubans have been shut out, right? Like, we have been shut out completely outside of a couple guys here and there. But now we're on the national stage promoting, this beautiful game of football. We've got a head coach in Mario Cristobal who provides the old generation of Cuban Americans, the ones that their parents came over hardworking. Their parents didn't have 2 dimes to rub together, and he made it into this amazing life. And then we also have the other side of it, Fernando Mendoza, who's like the 3rd generation now, whose parents have come up. They have money. They sent us to Belen, Columbus. He lives a different type of life. Now he's another set of a draw point for Miami Cubans to be like, oh, I know that guy. That guy's my friend. That guy's my cousin.
What are we
It's
doing?
a beautiful part. You wanted me to be a serious thing.
Why'd you do this? And you, Tony, just because you weren't given a football to go through your walkthrough at FIU doesn't mean that you actually went up against institutional racism.
We were shut out.
We just needed a couple generations to figure it out.
Nobody said anything about institutional racism. We just didn't have
This is
the
Dan's fault, not
They're not keeping the Cubans out. The entire NFL is looking for 32 guys that can play that position. Doesn't matter if they're Cuban or not.
I know.
They're not shut out. They just haven't been good.
It does. It does matter. It matters to me. By the way, Dan, a beautiful mural, probably the most famous mural in all of Miami Beach right here behind me, painted by the one and only Lebo. So I wanted to come as our last Tony's Top 5 for the year of the NFL season for Week 18. I wanted to come to a very beautiful and familiar spot, Lebo's mural here on 41st and Meridian on the beach, Dan.
You got the NFL saying, hey, Buck Ortega, pick another position. We're not letting you do this.
Tony, thank you
all I'm saying is that we weren't given the opportunity, okay? We weren't given the opportunity. That's all I'm saying.
Cuban quarterbacks haven't been good.
How you doing, guys? What do you know?
Thank you for doing it from there. I like.
Who are you saying hello to?
Who are you saying hello to?
People walking by.
Yeah, but we don't.
Here's the beautiful thing about Miami Beach. Hold on a second. Here's the beautiful thing about Miami Beach, right? Especially where we are, which is a little bit more quaint, not South Beach, which is obviously 40 some odd streets that way. What we're looking at here is a beautiful part of Miami Beach where the person walking by could have $100 million in the bank and we have no idea, or they could be driving a Bentley and be absolutely flat broke. That's the beautiful part about this city right here.
Why don't you ask that guy which all right. This is how we're going to do man on the street from now on. The next person that comes by there, you stop what you're doing and you just ask them a net worth question. Okay. Thank you for doing it there. Okay. I remember watching my brother and being terrified because he was up on scaffolding doing that particular mural. Like, that's not easy to do. So thank you for doing it from there. It's one of my favorite spots in Miami.
Of course, Dano. All right, we've got a couple OLI, and then we'll get into the top 5. So starting off in the OLI, worst records in the NFL, obviously now that everything is set. Cardinals at 3-14, Titans at 3-14, Jets at 3-14, Raiders at 3-14, Sauce Gardner at 2-15.
That's right. The Colts were there. Remember when we were
went to
talking?
the Jets and then went to the Colts.
You remember
and
Colts,
lost every
best
game
team in the
there,
AFC? You guys remember all that? That was a long time ago.
All right, last OLI. The Falcons were eliminated from the playoffs on December 7th and yet finished tied for first in their division, a division that had no winning records and got sent Carolina to play a home game against probably the best team in the NFL.
That shouldn't have been allowed yesterday. Like, two teams are have a chance to win the division, but it's another team who has no chance that gets to decide who wins it. When like Tony said, they were eliminated 4 weeks ago. That shouldn't have been allowed. That's where the commissioner needs to step in and do the right thing.
You have come in off this break just breathing fire. You have so many strong opinions.
Hey, buddy, quick question. What's your net worth? Oh. He said he's good.
Go number 3.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one to ask.
Who would answer that openly?
Well, that's why he prefaced it with quick questions.
Yeah, that's why I say
glad
quick
you
question,
asked.
buddy. What's your net worth? He said no, thank you, or I'm good. One of the two. That means he's broke, Dan. Let's be honest. That means he's broke. All right, that was OLI, Dan. We'll start with number 5, and somebody can give the stat there. The Jets made history that can never, ever be repeated. I don't know who has the stat there, but they went the entire season without getting an interception on defense. Has never happened before, will never happen again.
It's crazy. No team has ever gone an entire season. They played Trubisky yesterday. Trubisky had 4 touchdowns. No team has ever gone an entire season without an interception. That's a crazy stat.
And their coach is a defensive coach. Like no quarterback threw a bad pass.
A tipped pass, something. So a drop
pass.
pass.
Tua, for God's sake.
A drop pass.
Played Tua for Christ.
Twice.
Like, what are
That's
we
an
doing?
excellent point.
Number 4.
They played Tua
Thank
twice.
Thank you.
Got to come up with one of those.
Got to get one at least. A batted ball at the line or something. All right, number 4. Congrats to Matt Stafford on the MVP. But I want to tell you this right now. Rams, upset alert in Carolina, question mark?
No.
That was a
Take
great
that
game.
back. Take it back. Their season's over. Carolina's
take it
season
back.
is over. Carolina's season is over.
Anything could happen.
Since week 3, Carolina's season has been over. That team will not, under any circumstances, win anything. Never mind a single game. Not a single game. The Carolina Panthers have 0 chance in that football game against the Rams. Their season's over. It's always been over. It was over before it started. It was over when they lost against the Dolphins. It's still over. It's not less over because the Saints couldn't beat the Falcons yesterday. It's over. It's over because Baker Mayfield killed them, and it's over.
Not dead yet, Dano. They got a real live dog chance against the Rams.
They got a home game.
All they got to do is just beat the team at home
got a
that they
home game.
already beat.
Exactly right. Made Stafford, look kind of foolish. Threw 3 interceptions, I think, in that game. Number 3, Sam Darnold is 28-6 in the last 2 years with 2 different teams. I don't know what to do with that info. I just wanted to bring it to the masses. How you doing?
That Carolina-LA result was so confusing to Dan that we ended up having 2 days of philosophical conversations about are turnovers luck or generated or some combination.
The Rams are the best. The Rams are the best team in football. The Rams are a 5 seed. They're the best team in football. They've lost 5 one-score games in ridiculous fashion.
God, what a run that was. 2 full days of turnover conversation because of one result he couldn't understand, because of one bad take like 10 weeks earlier.
You guys know that Sam Darnold's grandpa's name was Dick Hammer and he was the Marlboro Man?
What?
I don't.
Hell yeah.
What?
Sam Darnold's grandpa, right there, we're looking at him.
That's
Dick
not-
Hammer. He was the Marlboro Man.
You have never
Oh,
done
guys,
anything
I
better
got
than
people
what you
coming
just
up here,
did.
guys. Here we go.
Take Tony.
Guys, quick question. Feel free to not answer me.
No.
Net worth over $1 million? Yes. Okay. I like that. Thank you, sir. Man,
Yeah,
quick question.
but that
Net
was
worth
Sean
over $1 million?
Skipper.
Oh, she didn't speak English. Okay.
Oh, that means yes.
Tell Skip I said hello.
Number 2, congrats to Myles Garrett. We're watching one of the legends of the game snap in and snap out. It's cool to see. I wasn't around to see some of these legends in pass rushing. We see Myles Garrett. He's on a bad team, but it's amazing to see him do his thing, snap in and snap out, year in and year out.
3rd best single season sack record. 3rd best.
Yeah, you're a sucker. You're a sucker. And number 1, there's obviously there's nothing else that we could say. I've got the hat going. Obviously, you see the hat.
Oh,
I brought out the
Sambocelli.
Sambocelli. Sambocelli is in the building. Thank you. Yes. Let somebody take a picture of this, how beautiful it is, with the Lebo mural with the Sambocelli in the background on the water.
now in the
Dan,
Lebo.
I want you to stop what you're doing right now. Take out your phone, okay, and text the Khan family. Let them know to get us
Turn the
inside
flashlight
the
off.
building
Yeah.
for Jags versus Bills, okay? My flashlight's on? Nah, whatever. Make sure, okay, we'll do a live show from there. We'll make something happen this Sunday. Jags versus Bills, a massive game. But I want to read you a couple things. Liam Cohen and the Jags right now are the best team in the AFC. Okay, hottest team in the AFC, best team in the AFC. Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 quarterback in the league right now. Liam Cohen fixed his issues just like he fixed Baker Mayfield's issues last year. Liam Cohen, great coach. And I want to give you some stats with Trevor Lawrence. His last 8 games, 19 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns. The only players with those touchdown totals in an 8-game span are MVP Lamar Jackson from 2019 and 2015 MVP Cam Newton. So Trevor Lawrence playing at an MVP level the last 8 games. Dan, get us in the building. We're going to represent our Jags. The biggest thing in Duval County right now is these Jaguars. Sambocelli needs to be in the building when they play these bum-ass Bills to get them out of here finally. Jags going to the Super Bowl. Let's go.
Here's Trevor Lawrence getting
Take your
some
phone
grills.
out,
Yeah, I did already. Trevor Lawrence. Here's Trevor Lawrence getting grills in the locker room because that's where we all had this season ending, of course.
We appreciate you so much for everything you do. I just want you to know all of Jacksonville behind you. We know it's a meme that's kind of going viral, so we got your own video.
He didn't want to put it in. They made him. See how he looks with the grill in. Got to put the bottom in too.
They're not serious people. I will not trust the Jags. I cannot trust the Jags, even though they make a midseason trade that changed everything because all of a sudden Washington's a great slot receiver and the Jags are now serious people. You guys,
they don't even have Trevor Lawrence. They don't even have Travis Hunter. They got great receivers all over the place. I'm telling you, this offense is a problem right now in the AFC. Their defense also sneaky good. Daniel Liam Cohn, Coach of the Year.
See you later, Tony. Appreciate the time as well. It is interesting that we all view the AFC as an entirety of weaknesses, all of them. All 6 of them flawed football teams, all 6 of them teams you don't totally trust for myriad reasons. That is not the case in the NFC.
There's not a single result in the AFC first round that you'd be surprised with, right? Like anyone could beat anyone in any of these games, right?
I mean, I don't see much of a difference between Houston and Jacksonville. Now you start getting into whether or not Houston can win a championship on defense with C.J. Stroud being someone who occasionally puts up 38 points a game now. Their offense isn't their offense was not struggling the last half of the season as much as it was in the beginning half of the season, obviously.
Still trying to recover from that whirlwind Tony appearance. He wasn't alive to watch Michael Strahan and TJ
Well, no,
Watt.
he was shut out from watching that.
He was shut out. That's right. He's going to produce a 30 for 30 about how Buck Ortega was blackballed from the position. One of these Cubans have to lose. We can't have an all-Cuban natty. Tony will be unbearable, even more so.
I believe that we have to build up 4 weeks now to the most Cuban championship ever played, possibly in Miami. You realize how close we are? Fernando Mendoza is the Heisman Trophy winner. Indiana is unbeaten. Indiana's had the most impressive season. That's not up for dispute. One of my great complaints about college football, I think this is a reasonable one, is you rendered that Ohio State-Indiana game totally meaningless. It was that Big Ten championship meant nothing. It was a game played for no particular reason. But
it mattered in seeding.
Yeah, I think it matters.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's irrefutable. It mattered in seeding.
Indiana went unbeaten this season, and it wouldn't have mattered whether they won or lost that game. Like, Indiana is just as good as
they would have played Miami in the Cotton Bowl.
Ohio State would have played Alabama, and they'd be playing Oregon.
They had a much easier draw.
We are all in agreement, are we not, that Indiana, because it beat Oregon, and because it beat Ohio State, that Indiana has the most unimpeachable record that there is there, correct?
Right, which is why they got the 1 seed.
And they won by a field goal against Ohio State, and now they are favored to win the championship, at least in part because of what they did to Alabama in not the cream of a total fraud of a conference. Like, there is no result that I got over the last 2 weeks, more of an indictment of the SEC and more verifying of my belief that everyone in that conference has been a highly regarded mediocrity. Every single thing in that conference is a highly regarded mediocrity.
Well, I'm assuming that you're then going to say that the Big Ten is the best conference, but is the Big Ten that much better than the
Big
SEC?
Ten won all of its bowl games except Michigan against Tennessee, and the SEC lost too many of its bowl games because all of its teams are frauds. Look, I know I'm being absolutist about this, and I know I'm overstating it, but what we've just seen from college football, if you're not willing to look at what those SEC results would say and say, oh, that whole big conference, we're saying Oklahoma and Texas would be there, and how exciting is it? And it's going to be an unbelievable, unprecedented conference. They played all of those bowl games, and you weren't impressed by anybody.
I just hope that people take the lessons from this college football playoff, which was tilting at windmills all season long, trying to tell people that just watch Get Up that the SEC isn't what it was. And the SEC conversation is literally from a bygone era. Do not let this SEC and Big Ten talk carry over into next season. Now that you've seen Miami do this, now that you've seen these conferences fall off, do not subscribe to it because you're going to keep a good team out because you're going to go along with this narrative that's total bull.